Hey guys, welcome back to the Adlib. Start again.
Keep it.
That's
Keep
staying
it.
in.
That's staying in.
Nine episodes, and it took that long for that to happen. He's usually
So perfect. And and he didn't swear. Eh, Jeffrey, that's impressive because we have 6 minutes or 8 minutes in to.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Adler podcast, and today is episode 9. As you can see, we're already off to a very good start. So, how's it going, Joe? What's up, man?
After that, I'm a lot better. But no. On the whole, I'm doing okay. How are you?
Not too bad. A little tired, as you can see. It's been a very busy day.
Very busy day. Yeah.
Franco, what's up, man?
No, very exciting with some very exciting news. We'll keep it secret. Let's not jinx it. Touch wood. We have some very special guests. Touch wood again. And I'm very excited. I had the first screening of the short movie, very well received, surprisingly. Thank you. Some job interviews lined up, so let's see where that's going for. So, yeah, I'm charged up, pumped up. Let's go. Let's see what the week holds for us.
Definitely. So, guys, what is the Adler podcast all about? The Adler podcast is all about movies, TV series, video games. We talk news, we talk all the stuff that's coming out. We discuss trailers which are released, all the big news, and obviously we review any movies or series which come out. And today we've got a few series to discuss and review. Actually, generally we focus more on movies, but today we'll be focusing also on series. We've got some breaking news from DC with Peter Safran and James Gunn giving us some very hot stuff to talk about. So that we'll be getting into in a sec. As always, guys, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, follow, share this with your friends. If you like what we do, we need the support. Please tell your friends about this. Anyone who loves movies, who loves video games, who loves series, tell them about this show and please spread the word.
And comment.
Today I'll be reminding you to comment constantly. I made that a promise to myself. With that done, let's get into the first segment, because today we're going to have basically 3 segments. We're first going to focus on obviously what we've been watching in the past week. Then we'll get into the news. Lots of big news to talk about this week. And finally, we'll be talking about some series, some movies which have come out recently. And I have a big rant as well on a particularly terrible Netflix movie, which I'm sure you will enjoy. So, Joe, your week so far, how has it been? What have you watched, played?
So my week, in terms of watching, I've been a little bit, not lazy, I've been busy. Because, I worked all weekend. I worked Friday to Sunday. I had a day off on Monday. So watching has taken a little bit of a backseat. I did manage to watch 2 films. One actually is new, which is The Beasts. I can't remember the name of the director for the life of me, but it was a film who Franco will say starring myself, Denis Ménochet. It's a French and Spanish film involving a couple that live in Galicia in a small village. Actually very, very good. I didn't like the turn it took. I didn't expect it to go the way it did, and I really enjoyed that. It's a bit long, like Franco now is. You can see him looking it up. He's going to see the length, and he's really going to start thinking, no, cut 20 minutes off that. I think they could have afforded to cut 10 off of that, but it was good. I liked it. Yes, that's the one right there.
No.
I recommend that. It was a good watch. Very, very beautiful scenery.
Oh, The Beasts. Okay. The
yes,
Spanish
The Beasts.
one.
So Asbestas, I guess. And I don't speak Spanish. That's my best.
Las Bestias.
My best try at that.
Las Bestias. Ole.
And then I rewatched The Wrestler, which is a film I probably haven't seen in about 10 years by Darren Aronofsky, specifically because I haven't told the listeners yet. You guys know I've developed a new illness, and it's called buying Blu-rays, especially buying second-hand Blu-rays. I'd always wanted to start a Blu-ray collection, and I had just a couple previously, and there's the Midsummer one just there. That's the most expensive one I own, but I've been buying second-hand ones recently. And I found The Wrestler. I got it in a deal where I found the shop where it was any 5 for £10. I'm like, I really liked this film the first time I saw it. I kept also thought to myself, like, what the fuck has happened to Mickey Rourke? Like, I was pretty sure he died. Then I looked up, no. Apparently he's been doing a couple of films a year still, but no one sees them. But no, I probably liked it more now than I did when I first saw it.
So you have
It's still a very good film.
You have BRAS, basically, right? BRAS. Blu-ray Acquisition Syndrome.
Yes, very
Well,
much so.
Filmmakers
I think
have...
I've gone from having 4 to having, I think now, I believe I'm in the 20s now. It's in the last 3 weeks. It's a pretty decent collection.
Damn.
I can't wait to start working.
But in my defense, of the 4 I had before, 3 of them were a gift from some friends of mine. In fact, all 4 of them were a gift from friends of mine. I'd never actually bought one before. The expensive one I bought was the Midsummer one because that's a special collector's edition. All the rest I bought were from charity shops and they were secondhand, so it's not new stuff. It goes to charity, and I'm not spending loads of money. I think altogether on Blu-rays I've spent somewhere near about, what, £30 on about 20 Blu-rays, so I think that's pretty good.
It's pretty decent.
On this topic, do you guys know any like of these kinds of charity shops which might sell Blu-rays in Malta? Because I would be interested in that.
I have no idea.
Over here, I mean, you can find them just like in any odd charity shop, whether they're like an Oxfam or they're a British Heart Foundation or Scotland Shelter. You can find them anywhere. But then there are actual specific second-hand shops like towards the city centre in Glasgow, where like there's one huge place called Missing Records, which is just second-hand vinyls, DVDs, Blu-rays, stuff like that. That's the most impressive one that there is, where you can trade in to get money for them as well.
No, I think most probably here D'Amato, but D'Amato brings them new and sealed almost.
Yes,
probably.
yes. The D'Amato will have new Blu-rays for sure, but they have a good selection.
That's for sure. And there's a charity shop close to my place. I mean, I can check, but I highly doubt it. I mean,
yeah, it feels like in a way that like Blu-ray and DVD. Actually, no, I'll correct myself on that. It feels like Blu-rays never exploded in Malta, because I feel like they kind of hit after like DVD shops were already kind of going away.
Yeah, exactly.
And then streaming cut in the market as well.
But I remember thinking back at home, we had 2 like gigantic drawers filled with DVDs, like easily 150 DVDs at any given point.
Okay, yeah.
And cassettes, we have so many cassettes.
Yes, cassettes. We got rid of most of them
VHS.
in like car boot sales and stuff like that. My mum would give them to like a children's home because they'd use them at places like that. But no, I'm enjoying the Blu-ray collection. I'm enjoying it because, I mean, it sounds dramatic, and I mean, one, I just like collecting because I like this shit. I like, for me, even like books and stuff, I like having the physical thing. If you see the stuff on my shelves, like there's old vintage cameras, like I like old shit. But it's also a thing in this streaming age and in this very digital age. In fact, it's happened in gaming quite a bit, where there was a controversy fairly recently involving an Assassin's Creed game, like there's a spin-off of Assassin's Creed 4, Freedom Cry, where I think it was in France and some other territories, this game, the digital version, no longer had like the rights to be distributed in digital markets, so anyone that bought this game digitally in those regions no longer owned the game.
Oh no.
So like that's why I don't trust these like digital stores and stuff like that, because all it takes is one day for like a rights dispute to happen, and like things that could be like beloved to me that I bought digitally, they can just go no. Take it away. But
you mean on Steam? Work on Steam?
Yes. Because they're in that region, they can't access the thing which they paid money for to own.
Oh, that's true.
And it's definitely going to happen. I mean, in a way, with Blu-rays, it happens, but they're like, Blu-rays are region locked. For example, now they're making them more and more region free because they obviously wants to sell more of them, and more people will buy them if they're region free. For example, the Midsummer one that I bought is a region free Blu-ray. I got that from the A24 website, so there's no problems with it. They make it region free.
Yeah, I understand what you're mentioning. The DVDs, we have to see the regions. Is it good to play here?
Yes.
Completely forgot about that, to be honest. It's a problem. I
still remember, we only got a DVD player at my house when I was younger, a couple of years after they became like the norm, because the first thing my parents bought that could play DVDs, they justified it by buying me, my brother, and my sister a PlayStation 2. Because they
That's
heard
true.
that with a PlayStation 2, you could play DVDs on it, but it wasn't as simple as just buying the PS2 and putting a DVD in. You had to then buy an additional like memory card, which was designed for reading DVDs. And then if your DVD was the wrong region, you had to insert this disc that came with that memory card, select the region you wanted to play, remove the disc, and then insert the DVD. Gone are the days.
Complications, travel complications.
But to get back to the point, yes, I watched the rest of that on Blu-ray,
All right.
and I watched episode 3 of The Last of Us, but we'll get to that in our last segment.
Definitely.
Nice.
Franco, what about you? What have you been up to this past week?
So I've told you already, like what happened with the screening and whatnot. I've seen a very good movie, highly recommended, Holy Spider, an Iranian movie based on a real life series of murders that happened in a place called Mashhad. Sorry if I mispronouncing it. In Iran, which is it's the financial and religious center of Iran. And without spoiling much, it's a very politically charged movie as well. And considering what's happening now in Iran, it's a highly recommended movie. Goes into gender dynamics as well.
Yeah, I'd seen this advertised at Glasgow Film Theatre.
It's
on my list.
It's highly recommended. Very bold as well. Very like there are some scenes where there was a scene slightly gratuitous in your face. I mean, in the whole concept of the movie, I don't know if it wasn't as like a sort of. Yes, I can say fuck you. Okay, it was a sort of fuck you to the Iranian censors as well. And otherwise, I know. Hey, trivia time. Apparently, the guy who plays the killer in this movie, I'm not sure if he was actually the casting director. They couldn't find a guy who played it. And it's some good trivia is that there was already 2 other movies about this. These real life events, and there was a documentary in 2002 called "And Along Came a Spider." It has been condemned by the Ministry of Culture back in Iran. There's some accusations of plagiarism because there was another Iranian movie 2020 called Killer Spider, and I'm trying to check again. Bear with me a second. I'll have to confirm. I'll have to confirm with you, but I know that they were trying to find someone, and he had to step in basically.
Okay.
And it's I enjoyed watching it, and I was almost like I could feel the anger going as well.
Yes, nice. So then I added it to my list as soon as I saw the trailer when I was in the cinema last time.
Franco, do you want to add anything else about that?
No, watch it. I look forward to discuss it to you guys. It's a good movie to review, and very well filmed. And again, if I want to make a comment, and this is very important, especially in the Maltese context, a movie which is war torn with so much censorship going on, and still they managed to come up with so many beautiful movies and have a great cinematic legacy. Frustrating, but at the same time it's inspiring, and maybe we should look at how they make movies as well. And yeah, by the way, if I can mention this at the beginning of the podcast, I have 3 screenings lined up, 2 details to be confirmed, one at Kishot and one at Theatre Next Door, and the other one, it is confirmed on the 10th February at Movement Graffiti's office in Valletta. Yeah,
nice.
You can find the details on Facebook.
Definitely. Nice. Anything else, Franco, you want to mention from stuff you've watched?
No, we're going to discuss them later on when you finish Saving the World. And there's also Last of Us Episode 3. And I was watching To Leslie, which we're gonna comment about it next week, right? Yeah.
Indeed. That would be next week's discussion.
And I understand why there was this kind of campaign, but I think it's part of the news, right, Andrea?
Yeah.
Yep,
we're getting to
definitely.
it.
That's one of the big news we'll be talking about today.
So I can comment.
All right.
I can comment over then.
Definitely. So in my case, I've watched quite a lot of series this week. I started Ted Lasso, which I'm really enjoying. Don't know if anyone here has watched it.
I watched a couple.
Heard about it, haven't watched it.
It's very good. As someone who loves football, I find it very entertaining to see a dumb American come to go to England and not have any idea at all about the sport.
I liked it. I just found it a bit too cutesy.
Saccharine.
It
they
is.
said
It is.
I'm not a huge on that. Like, I have to really be in the mood for that. It's very cute. Yeah, I get why people like it because
Very.
it's very likable. It's very easy to watch. But
The protagonist, Ted Lasso, is really, really, really likable. I think one of the most likable characters I've seen on TV recently. Franco?
he was actually. I think he was actually a character in an advertisement before, right? As part of a series of television commercials for NBC Sports, promoting their coverage of the Premier League.
Okay, so this was before or after the series?
Before the series, so back.
Okay, all
so
right.
it was in 2013. He reprises the role of Ted Lasso, and basically Jason Sudeikis was the new head coach of Tottenham Hotspur FC in the series of adverts.
Okay. So in the series, he basically becomes head coach of AFC Richmond, which is a completely invented team. Very entertaining. I've enjoyed the first couple of episodes, and I'm looking forward to continuing the rest of the series. I know that a new season is coming out later on this year, sometime around March. So hopefully I'll finish all the episodes by then and can get into season 3. But I understand, like Joe said, I understand completely why it's such a popular series in America. Definitely a series I think that will be a big hit with the American audience, finding out what happens in the British League. So that's Ted Lasso. I tried to watch a new series out on Apple TV, which is
I forgot about
Shrinking.
this.
But I'm going to be honest, I'm actually quite disappointed. And I stopped watching the first episode. I watched the first episode, and there's the second episode also out, and didn't really do it for me, I'm going to be honest. As someone who loves Jason Segel, how do you say his surname?
Segel, I think it is. Yeah,
Segel. Segel. I mean, it's pretty much his usual character, very likable, but there was something about all the production value and quality of the whole thing didn't do it for me. So I watched the first episode and I just stopped. And in fact, then after I finished watching the first episode, I started Ted Lasso and I fell in love with Ted Lasso. So I continued with that. So yeah, I tried, but it just didn't work for me. So that's Shrinking. Then obviously we'll be talking about this in the review. I watched the first 4 episodes of Poker Face. Very good series, but I have some comments to say about that as well. Yeah, that's pretty much me. I have watched a couple of movies here and there with my girlfriend, but obviously The Last of Us, which we'll be talking about later on in our review. So that's pretty much my week.
Andrea, by the way,
yes, Franco.
There's if you like this kind of football, it's more of a documentary series, but it involves Ryan Reynolds and what's that guy of?
And Rob McElhenney. Welcome to Wrexham.
Welcome to Wrexham.
Welcome to Wrexham is great. It's really good.
That is a documentary.
Yeah, documentary series. Disney Plus.
Okay.
Very good.
It's always advertised on my television, my LG TV, whenever I switch it on. And the first thing that comes up is Welcome to Wrexham. It's always there. I don't know why. Do you know what it's released on?
Disney Plus.
Oh, so I can watch it easily then. That's probably why then, because I have Disney Plus on my TV, so probably that's why it's always advertised there.
Yeah, it's very good.
Have you watched it, guys?
I've seen it. Yeah, it's very good.
I'll watch it when I feel like.
And Ryan Reynolds is a big part in it, or is he just like?
He's
observing?
No. It's they both play a very, very big part in the club.
Yeah, But
Okay.
And
All right.
Ryan Reynolds
That's
was
interesting.
at their game the other night when they drew 3-3 with Sheffield United,
Sheffield United, Mela.
Ooh, okay.
which is
And-
ridiculous that they're drawing with Sheffield United when they're a
Fair. I
non-league
want
team.
that. This was a fake up.
What?
Yeah,
FA Cup,
yeah,
FA Cup, FA Cup.
Ah, okay.
They lost through
Interesting.
penalties, though, right, Emma? I
Oh, that's unfortunate.
No, I think they
Don't they have to do a replay?
They drew,
And
yeah,
then
they
the
have to do
FA
a
Cup?
replay. Now they do an away replay.
Right.
They
No, but
beat Coventry a couple of weeks ago.
Ostra.
Ostra, okay.
Okay.
No, but Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney,
McElhenney, yeah.
Rob McElhenney, they own the club. They actually bought the
Yeah.
club. It's a very
Right,
positive
I
goal.
think- I think like over the weekend after that result for Wrexham, the top 2 trending things on all of Twitter were the Philadelphia Eagles and Wrexham.
Why the Philadelphia Eagles?
I think because they had a big win to get to the Super Bowl.
All right.
I mean, who cares?
American inverted commas culture, which I don't understand.
All right.
All right, guys. So, to our audience, let us know in the comment section below. What have you been watching this past week? Anything interesting you would like to share with us? Tell us in the comment section below. All right.
He's becoming
get into
a
the news.
influencer. Influencer.
I'm here. I'm ready. Okay, and unfortunately, we're going to have to start with not the happiest of news for anyone who used to watch 24 or for anyone who has played The Last of Us. Unfortunately, I have very bad news for you. You might probably have already heard of this. Unfortunately, we lost actress Annie Wersching. She was the character Tess in The Last of Us. She was also, like I said, in the TV drama 24. And unfortunately, she has died aged 45. We had some comments by The Last of Us creator who said, "You left us way too soon." Neil Druckmann said that. 24-star Kiefer Sutherland called her a beautiful person and my friend and said, "My heart breaks for her family." For fans of Star Trek Picard, she was the Borg Queen. So that is another thing you might have watched her on. Unfortunately, she was diagnosed with cancer in 2020. She's been battling quietly with cancer. She's been in some shows, even with cancer. So that's very, very brave of her. She was on Star Trek Picard, exactly. Guys, I don't know if you've seen any of her series. Obviously, I know Joe has played The Last of Us, so you got to experience her there. I don't know if you have any comments about her. Anything you would like to mention?
I mean, it's sad when anyone dies that young. It's sad when anyone dies in general. As Tess, I mean, The Last of Us is one of those games where it's at the forefront of really bringing the medium into the kind of critical sphere. I feel like before games like Uncharted and The Last of Us, when a game told a story, even though like game stories have been fantastic for ever since there's been video games, but really in the pop culture, I think that's when people started really taking video games seriously, and she was a big part of that, because without her, because it's not just a vocal performance in The Last of Us, they did motion capture for all of those games. So without her, we don't have Anna Torv's Tess. Like, as we were just singing her praises on the last episode.
Yeah.
Like, she was that character. If anything, Anna Torv pays homage to Annie Wersching.
I'm actually impressed by how many actors are involved now in games. So it's become a sort of transmedia medium, basically. It's very interesting that they're putting the effort to make a game more grounded, I would say.
Yeah.
And yes, obviously, condolences to her family and her friends.
Definitely. So rest in peace, Annie Wersching. At 45, that's very young.
Very young.
And very, very sad. So condolences to her family and friends. So moving on. We've got some very interesting teasers and trailers in the past week. We won't really be going into detail, but for anyone interested, we had actually not the worst trailer for The Boogeyman, which some of our audience members might be interested in. We also got a teaser for Ant-Man, where we got to see more of Kang. There was a lot of focus on Kang and Ant-Man and how they will be kind of confronting each other in the movie. I think the more I see from Ant-Man, the more I'm interested. My interest is constantly peaking with this movie. I know Joe obviously is not too excited, but I know Franco.
His interest is opposite of peaked.
Yes. The more that comes out of Ant-Man, the more my interest borrows.
Yeah. So,
However, Franco, I know you mentioned that you were quite interested, especially with the quality of the CGI in the last trailer.
The last trailer, it seems like they improved and they polished it, and they're also using some interesting lens choices. I'd be happy to have a look at it again. No, and right now, apparently there's also Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and streaming. And I have some comments about the Boogeyman. Like I saw the trailer. It seems slightly derivative of James Wan's directing style. There's a particular shot, and like
Definitely.
I mean, I don't know what to say because let's be clear. Many directors pay tribute to their favorite directors, because I noticed, like, I was going to do a TikTok of a classical movie called Persona by Swedish director Ingmar Bergman. Many directors do like make reference to that movie in their work, but then again, there's that kind of distance of time between it debuting and directors making reference to it, and the Boogeyman making such a direct reference with that camera move for I think I saw it in The Conjuring first, right? It feels I don't know, it feels like I'm watching the Conjuring again, but Stephen King style.
There's paying homage and there's mimicry.
Yeah,
like we discussed this in the performances of Rami Malek and Austin Butler, and who they were portraying with Freddie Mercury and Elvis respectively. I mean, one film which was hugely acclaimed, which a lot of people said paid homage, but I thought it was blatant mimicry in more ways than one, was The Joker by Todd Phillips.
It's blatant mimicry, yeah?
Blatant mimicry of Scorsese to me. Like, in everything from its color to its camera angles, the way it's shot, its story. Its story is Taxi Driver meets the King of Comedy.
Yes. And so, like, you know, because I've heard so many things about it. Like, some people saying it's good, some people saying it's mimicry. I still haven't watched it yet, so maybe that's my
I mean, there is stuff to enjoy, because then the performance at the center of it by Joaquin Phoenix is very good. But for me, like, a lot of people like blew it up, like, it's a masterpiece, one of the best movies I've ever seen, and I'm like, okay, it's good. It is definitely it's a well-made film, but a part of it is a well-made film because you've copied someone's homework, basically.
No, not only Taxi Driver, by the way, Joe. There's also King of Comedy, which I still have to check. But I've seen.
I haven't seen King of Comedy.
I think it's very good. I've seen a few snippets.
King of Comedy is amazing.
I can
imagine. Amazing film. And yeah, Joker is literally King of Comedy and Taxi Driver with a comic book character in it.
Exactly, pretty much. But what I would say about Joker, I think a lot of cinephiles have made it their personality to hate Joker. I'm gonna just put it there.
I
know a lot of people will hate me for that.
Andrea
I
chose
agree
violence. Andrea chose violence.
I agree with you. It's why I don't hate it. Like, if someone took me, like, if someone invited me over to, like, watch a movie, and they're like, do you feel like I really want to watch a Joker? Do you want to watch a Joker? I'm like, yeah, sure. It's a perfectly fine watch. But then if someone comes to me and they're like, Joker's one of the best films ever made, I'll go like, wait, let's go back to 1971 and start you with Scorsese, and then you can see why.
Maybe that's why Scorsese feels it's his personal mission to say, hey, superhero movies should tone it down.
Talking about Joker,
Cinema Grandpa.
amazing soundtrack.
Yes, very good soundtrack.
What's her name? Was Gudnadsdottir?
Yeah.
Gudnadsdottir.
Yes,
yep.
Fantastic soundtrack.
Amazing soundtrack.
Which also did Tar.
Yeah. No,
indeed.
Joker has some very, very good things going for it in the film.
And massive money maker. That
yes,
movie
huge.
made over $1 billion.
Huge money maker.
Guess who's also making billions? James Cameron.
It's
It's definitely not me.
moving swiftly on.
So,
man.
moving swiftly on. We've now, Avatar: The Way of Water has now become the 4th highest grossing film of all time. Do you know what that means for James Cameron? That means that
Three
out of the 4 highest grossing films of all time, 3 have been made by James Cameron, which is bloody incredible.
But
I
I
don't understand.
that record is broken by Zoe Saldana, because she has been in 5 record-breaking,
Indeed.
billion-making franchises.
Yeah. What I kind of love about all of this, this is going to be me choosing violence towards the MCU again, is that despite how much they churn out of the MCU and how much money those movies do make, a single director has 3 out of 4.
It's
Think of how much build-up and how many stars there are in Avengers Endgame.
Yep.
And that made 2.799 billion.
Yep.
I mean, probably Avatar: The Way of Water won't reach 2.799 billion at this point. It might reach Titanic, though. But Avatar 1 is 2.9 billion. And Avengers Infinity War, that was like the biggest cinema. And it beats Avengers Infinity War.
Don't forget, probably before Avatar 3 comes out, they are 100% going to re-release both Avatar and Avatar: The Way of Water in cinemas.
remastered. So I'd be interested what you're going to ask one of our guests, Istra. Since he was highly involved, quite involved within the MCU.
Oh no, I mean, like, here's like my whole thing. I'm now on this podcast wearing like the MCU hater thing on my sleeve as like part of my identity, which to an extent it very much is. But there have been MCU movies that I have greatly enjoyed, especially the ones when they've deviated from the fucking machine that shits them out every now and again.
Indeed.
Ragnarok was fantastic.
Ragnarok.
I like
Bloody amazing.
I like both of the Guardians movies. I like those both a lot. I really enjoyed Infinity War. I didn't think they were going to pull it off, and they did.
Yes.
That's a miracle movie.
Do you want to know what my biggest problem with the MCU is, like, as a whole? It doesn't feel like there are many stakes. Like, for me, Endgame was quite good, but would have been so much better if it was actually the end. And obviously, Disney aren't going to go, that's it, we're not making superhero movies anymore. But I feel like Endgame would have been a good time to go, look, this part is done. Now we're going to soft reboot in a different universe with new characters, with different versions of different characters, because then you've told that arc and you've ended it with like one of the biggest stories that there is. And for me, that would have been like, for me, now, especially since they're going into all this multiverse shit, there are no stakes in it.
So true.
Speaking of which, Joe, there's a good, and I also suggested to our listeners and viewers, there's a good video by Studio Binder about the tropes and tropes and antidotes of superhero movies. They do mention Man of Steel and Thor Ragnarok because they tried to do something with those tropes as well.
Yeah.
How they undercut certain tropes with humor, for example, and raising the stakes as well.
Yeah. Like one of the biggest ones I have an issue with, this is becoming a fucking MCU chat all of a sudden.
Yep.
One of the biggest like characters I have an issue with and why I struggled to like any of his standalone films was the Spider-Man that they brought into the MCU, because I grew up loving Spider-Man. I loved the Sam Raimi films. I even like Spider-Man 3 for how fucking stupid it is.
Really?
Just because it's wild and stupid. Like the fact that he becomes evil Spider-Man by having a fringe is incredible. But what I struggled with Tom Holland's Spider-Man is that his 3 movies are the same. And why they're the same, I can explain that very easy. In all 3 movies, he gets into something against the advice of someone superior to him, gets in over his head, and then through the help of others, gets out of it and learns nothing. In all 3 films. In Homecoming, in Far From Home, and in No Way Home. Think about it.
True.
They are all the same. With the 3rd one being so shameless that it just brings in nostalgia porn to make people go, ooh, other Spider-Men and old villains, better villains than the MCU has ever seen.
I
With the
mean,
likes of
Joe,
Willem Dafoe
I'm
being
on
the
your
Green
side
Goblin.
on this. I'm on your side on
I
this,
mean,
and I remember
he's a
fighting a
teenager,
crusade
He's
on
a
this.
he's a teenager. Oh.
Yes, but he's a teenager, but like, come the fuck on. You died for 2 years. You disappeared.
Five.
Okay, 5. That's worse. Like you were
nothing
dead
in
for that
those
long.
5 years.
You went to space and you fought an alien who wiped out half of the entire universe with a snap of his fingers, and you came back and you learned nothing. Did your parents you didn't know never tell you no when you were a kid?
His auntie. Sorry, that's why.
Oh,
He has no
exactly.
parents.
Like, in fact, the one thing I really liked about No Way Home is that for a change there was an actual stake to it, and spoilers for No Way Home. Franco, have you've seen No Way Home?
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yes, Andrea, that spoilers for the audience. Skip the next 10 seconds. Aunt May dies. Yes, thank you. You gave him a consequence, a genuine consequence that he can't fix.
I miss her. She's hottest.
But yes.
Tristan, skip these 10 seconds.
Yes,
Sorry, Tri.
for
I was
to address the Marvel hater tag. I do hate a lot of it. There is some of it I admire and I like. I think it's okay to like those films, because if you like them because they're fun, go have fun. I'm old and boring. I'm 28 with a 58-year-old's mind. I'm totally okay with that. I like good shit, in my opinion. That's just where I
Listen,
stand.
I was gonna say in Thor Ragnarok, I saw the studio buying their video on YouTube. Kate Blanchett as Hela I really enjoyed watching her, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And she was
Yes, but
and she was hot in it as well, and she gave quite good gravitas in it.
yeah. The best part about Ragnarok is that I hated Thor before Ragnarok. Like, I'd seen the first 2 Thor movies, like that he sucks, the character is just stupid, but everyone kept telling me, look, you should watch Ragnarok, it's different, I promise. One night, it turned up on Netflix, it was late, I had nothing else to watch, I said, fuck it, and I had a great time because it was fresh, it made the character interesting, and there were stakes.
And speaking of other comics universe, we can speak about DC News.
Oh, Franco with the segue, beating Andrea to it.
Thank you, Franco. Let's go. I actually had another segue in mind. Let me mention it now, because I was thinking of the hot part, and I was going to say another actor who's very hot is obviously Chris Hemsworth, and another character who's very hot is definitely Tomb Raider. That was my segue. My next paragraph.
Also
But
good.
let's go with Franco's. So I think it's very good time to talk about all the big DC news that just came out, like literally minutes ago. And I mean, basically, we're going to be reacting to it live, because I have not even had time to read most of it. So here we are. Everything DC just announced. This is a good, I think, summary by Collider. From a new Superman movie to The Brave and the Bold. James Gunn and Peter Safran unveiled 10 new movies, exactly, and TV shows. I think that's movies and TV shows.
Yeah, but it's still
while
not, though.
detailing their approach to the DC universe. After months of rumors, doubts, and chaos, new co-heads of DC Studios, James Gunn and Peter Safran, have finally announced their plan for the DCU. During a press conference held on Monday, January 30th, Gunn and Safran talked in detail about which characters and stories they will incorporate into the DCU, underlining how they intend to tell a monumental story in 2 chapters. While there's still much we don't know about Gunn and Safran's Endgame, the creative duo already revealed which movies and TV shows will be part of Chapter 1 of the new DCU, also known as Gods and Monsters. There are currently 5 movies and 5 series in development by DC Studios, most of which are focused on mainstream characters like Superman, while a few are centered around fairly unknown aspects of the IP, like Creatures Commandos. Besides that, Gunn and Safran have also revealed how they are dealing with current DC productions set to come to theaters, how Matt Reeves' Batverse will continue to exist, and what kind of stories they intend to tell in the future. So, here's a quick recap. The Flash. Apparently, The Flash will reset the DCU. So, this year, in the coming months, we'll have Shazam! Fury of the Gods, The Flash, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Since these movies were developed under the previous DC Studios management and were not conceived as part of a bigger storyline, they are not officially part of the multi-year plan for the DCU. However, doesn't mean Gunn and Safran are just scrapping all these projects. In fact, apparently they have found a clever solution to make everything canon adjacent by using the Flash movie to reset the timeline. Since the upcoming movie deals with time travel and alternate dimensions, it also creates the opportunity for DC Studios to get a clean board they can fill with the ambitious slate of movies and TV shows. The strategy will also allow Gunn and Safran to reuse some actors from the old DCU without worrying about continuity. Franco?
No, that's actually pretty smart, I feel like. It's a very smart, smart choice.
It's a risk that Kevin Feige wouldn't take with Disney.
Most probably. And I'm still not sure. I mean, I obviously I'm a firm believer of rehabilitation and, you know, radical empathy.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure about Ezra Miller.
Yeah, that does surprise me because he's been in and out of the news a lot.
Again, but there was mention of mental health issues and whatnot. So
yeah,
I would hold comments. But this solution is very like wise reading. That is very pretty smart, man.
Yeah.
To create a clean slate.
And what I think this can do is also remove the attention from all the Ezra Miller drama and put all the focus on, like, this is the new DCU now.
Yeah.
Ezra Miller will do his movie. He'll be out. Obviously, he'll never be in another DCU movie ever again after all the drama. So, in a way, I think this is a very, very smart way because, obviously, this will be a clean slate. And because you can kind of beat all the Ezra Miller drama at the same time, I don't know if there's a better solution to this than what they're doing.
Yeah. It's nice as well because you have the films that are ready, like Shazam! Fury of the Gods, The Flash, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman. Fans that were really excited for those, they're not going to be thrown away. They're going to come out and then it's just going to reset. So everyone wins, I think.
Exactly.
I hope it doesn't affect.
Anything else, guys?
I hope it doesn't affect the Michael Keaton Batman appearing in the Flash because that's something I'm pretty looking forward to.
He will. He's been a big focus of all the advertising for it. As in, if you've noticed in any of the advertising for the Flash, Ezra Miller has barely appeared, and the focus has been basically Michael Keaton. That's it.
It's going to be a Batman movie secretly.
Yep.
Might I say something because I saw on Facebook recently someone got Tim Burton's Batman and gave them a black and white. He basically turned them black and white. And I've noticed how much it was influenced by noir movies, Estra.
Yes, completely.
Oh,
I was
100%.
very. I've watched them when I was tipo yay high, and I think I want to see them again. I think he had fun making them, Tim Burton. Like he didn't worry about it being slightly goofy and whatnot.
Definitely. Moving on. Joe, you were right. Matt Reeves' Batverse is safe thanks to Elseworlds. While The Flash will clean the slate for the Gods and Monsters storyline, Gunn and Safran revealed that they are incorporating DC Comics' Elseworlds strategy into their DCU. That means there'll still be DC stories that are not part of the main canon, and they'll just take place in a different timeline. Same case with Matt Reeves' Batverse. There's Todd Phillips' Joker franchise, and even the animated series like Teen Titans Go. Good news. The release date is October 3rd, 2025, which is a long time. Long way to go for that.
It's good to see with this that he's going to get his planned trilogy and the TV shows are going to go ahead as well, which I was really excited for. I was really excited for the Gotham PD show and for the Penguin. So
definitely. Is he going to be directing those, Matt Reeves, or is he just the show creator?
There's nothing yet, but he's definitely the creator so far.
Franco.
I was going to say, do you guys feel like Gunn does respect the filmmakers a lot? Because, like you said,
he's a filmmaker himself, eh?
He knows what it means.
Because, like you said, Joe, like the Flash, Aquaman, Blue Beetle are still going to happen, and with Shazam as well. You know, that would be a great director to interview, Shazam director. He's also Swedish, and he started his career on YouTube actually. And yeah, but I feel like this guy really respects the filmmaker's work. That he's leaving he's not touching Matt Reeves' work. He's letting him do his own thing.
Yeah. Let it play out. I mean, there's going to be hundreds of times to bring Batman back into something. So
Oh man.
And
Batman's never going to go out of fashion.
can I be a bit of a dreamer? Imagine finally we see what's his name, Edgar Wright, doing a superhero movie, but under the DC.
Do you know what would be the dream with DC for me? Did you guys ever hear where years ago, I'm talking about 10 years ago, George Miller was making a Justice League film?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Lalo.
that's what I want to see.
Yep.
Wow. That's true.
I had read a whole Reddit post about it once.
There was going to be a documentary about it as well. I'm not sure if it got made. Let me have a look.
I need to find it again because I hadn't heard about it back then when the news came out. But once I don't know what I was looking up, and I came onto this like whole detailed Reddit post about it, and it was really interesting.
So and somewhere in another universe, Nick Cage is Superman as well. Remember?
Oh my god!
Yes, I want to be part of that universe.
Talking about Superman, here we go. Superman Legacy. Superman is unquestionably one of the most important heroes in the DC universe, so it's fitting that the first theatrical release of the Gods and Monsters storyline will be Superman Legacy, which is coming to theaters on July 11, 2025. Gunn is writing the Superman Legacy script himself, although no director is attached to the project. I'm surprised he won't be directing it himself.
Yeah,
that's weird. I expected him to direct. I expected the first movie to be a Superman movie. And thankfully, Gunn and Safran revealed this wouldn't be another Superman origin story.
Yeah.
Even though the movie will deal with the hero's double legacy as a Kryptonian and Earth's protector. Obviously, they have to do that. And thankfully, it's not an origin story. I expected the first movie to be a Superman movie. And I expected Gunn to actually...
I mean, he might. He
direct.
might not be directing right now.
Could be.
He might just go like, you know what, I wrote this and I'm the best person for the job, and he might just take over.
True. What tone do you think will Gunn direct this Superman, guys? Will it be like Man of Steel, bit more goofy, mixture of both?
Batman v Superman.
Oh,
I don't know, but I have a hot take.
okay. Go for it.
Do you know who I want to see take control of Superman as a director? I want to see, I believe so. Yeah, I want to see Josh Trank take over Superman. Specifically because of Chronicle.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say Chronicle. Forget Fantastic Four, but Fantastic Four, I think
Fantastic Four, it's Fantastic Four, it's known. He had the film ripped away from him and it was destroyed in post-production.
There's a really interesting documentary about that on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever watched it.
But I think if we can get something, obviously not like found footage, but something in the vibe. I think really good. A teenage Superman in the vibe of Chronicle would be incredible.
That's quite extra.
It's going to be a young Superman. I think we talked about this before on the show.
Yeah,
it's going to be a very young Superman.
No, we'll see.
So
we'll see.
Yeah. This is interesting. This is very interesting. The Authority. So Gunn is also actively working on a script for The Authority, movie based on the controversial super team of the Wildstorm label. Authority is a super team so concerned with saving the planet that they will often cross moral lines to get things done, believing that the ends justify the means. Heroes of The Authority often act like villains. While The Authority was initially developed to be part of its own superhero universe, Gunn and Safran are bringing the Wildstorm characters into the DC.
I knew it. Because
so they're basically all like Peacemaker.
No,
pretty much.
The author is Warren Ellis. I don't know if Warren Ellis was also responsible for The Boys.
Okay.
Cool.
Let me check if it's him. Wait, because I sometimes get confused between Garth Ennis and Warren Ellis. But let me confirm quickly. Hasrad, I forgot who made The Boys.
Garth Ennis was Preacher.
Preacher, Let me check the bibliography quickly.
Oh no, and he did The Boys as well.
Garth Ennis.
Yeah.
All right, but Warren Ellis is he's a great writer. He's got a great. I love I didn't read everything, but Transmetropolitan is a great comic book movie, and The Authority.
Shit, he did Red. Okay.
And
okay.
the authority. I was reading sometimes I go on Wikipedia just to read up on comic books and their storylines, and the authority seems very, very up my alley as well. I think it will be in the same at the same level as, like you said, Peacemaker and The Boys.
This is perfect for James Gunn. This is like his bread and butter, to be honest.
Yeah. Tongue-in-cheek, R-rated superhero stuff.
Do you think they will go R-rated?
I hope so.
Maybe not for everything, but I think if anyone's going to take DC and be like, we should make stuff mainly for adults, it's going to be James Gunn.
Yep.
I'll actually go
Exactly.
PG-13 with this one. You'd lose
It's true,
much
they'll
of the...
miss out on a lot.
Ah.
Brave and the Bold.
This one,
Gunn and Safran.
really, really, really excites me because The Brave and the Bold was some of my favorite stuff growing up.
Oh, okay. Grant Morrison as well? He's also... Lallo, man.
Yeah. Brave and the Bold comic book run.
So it's going to be obviously focused on the extended Bat family. The upcoming film will put Damian Wayne at the center of the action and a father-son inspired story by Grant Morrison's comic book run. Brave and the Bold will also introduce a new star in the role of the Dark Knight. Question mark obviously is, who will be this other version of the Batman? That would be an interesting casting choice.
Give me
Scott
Bryan
Adkins.
Cranston off the top of my head.
Scott Adkins, of course, guys. Speaking of... That guy was being mentioned.
For a young Batman, yes, because he still looks quite young, Scott Adkins. But I feel like with the Damian Wayne, you'd get probably a Batman towards his 50s.
Oh, Bryan Cranston, you're right. Or Bob Odenkirk. He's got the jawline.
I don't know if I could take Bob Odenkirk seriously as Batman. I don't know if I
That's
could.
going to be a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, like it was hard enough trying to take him, trying to like not just see Bob Odenkirk when I watch Nobody. And for the record, I enjoyed Nobody as well.
Okay.
To be fair, he does have the acting chops. That's
He does.
the action,
Like
acting,
now because-
action chops. Sorry.
Because like he is Bob Odenkirk, I just see Bob Odenkirk doing stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm.
Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, expected to be released 2 years after Superman Legacy. It will explore a unique character version of Kara Zor-El, Kal-El's cousin. When Kal found a loving family on Earth, Kara floated through space in a destroyed fragment of Krypton, witnessing nothing but death and destruction. Inspired by Tom King's refreshing take on the beloved character Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow intends to show how different upbringings can give birth to very distinct heroes. I have no knowledge of this comic book. Guys, do you know anything about it?
Same here.
Seems very interesting though.
Yeah.
Very bloody, I can see from this image.
Yeah, we've never seen Supergirl properly explored on screen, so I'm here for it. Apart from the really shit CW show, so
Oh god.
But
Have you ever
wait,
seen clips of that?
yes.
But
Holy
this,
shit.
the CW, again, Corridor Crew shoutouts, they said that they ran out of budget. At the end of it, they ran out of budget, and then the special effects obviously became shit.
I'm not
And their
surprised.
seasons are so long.
Yeah.
Jesus.
They make like still like TV that should have died like in the year 2007.
Yep.
This is interesting.
On this topic, I think it will be interesting, however, before we get to the interesting part, Franco. I think it will be interesting to see. I don't know if Supergirl in this version will be like either an evil version of Supergirl, or
Could
will
be.
it be more like a misunderstood version of...
Could be
I
one
hope-
that blurs the lines between good and
Yeah,
bad.
I hope that will be an interesting approach. And if they make it as bloody as it seems to be in this picture, I'm there for it, to be honest. This is also very interesting. Swamp Thing. Last film announced for the Gods and Monsters chapter is Swamp Thing, which is based on DC's most iconic horror character. While there's little information about this movie, Safran promised the story will investigate the dark origins of the character, so fans should expect the DCU to draw inspiration from Alan Moore's beloved comic book run.
Alan
Horror.
Moore.
I'm there for it.
Alan Moore.
Yeah.
Allah.
Did you have you guys seen, like, obviously that's a still from the art of the Swamp Thing TV series, which only got one season. But have you guys seen that season? Because I remember at the time people were freaking out saying it's incredible, but then it got cancelled like shortly thereafter. And now that like Swamp Thing is going to be in the pop culture again, I'm curious to go and check it out.
I'm
I
curious to
haven't.
check it. I'm curious to check out the series as well. But many
think-
people
I
What
think-
was it out on, Joe? Do you know?
CW as well.
No, it wasn't CW. It was what was before DC had their own streaming service before everything just became HBO Max. I forgot what it was called.
Okay, so it was a 2019
DC
TV
something.
series.
Yeah.
Oh yes, because they had their own thing, the DCU Plus, no?
I don't know if it was called that.
Release. On DC Universe, basically, yeah. DC Universe.
On DC Universe. That's what
Yeah,
it says
DC
here.
Universe, that was it. But yeah,
And
then
then-
everything just became HBO Max. But this was one. It came out and people were like, "This is amazing!" Like, and it's like very like horror centric and stuff like that. But it got cancelled after one season, and like a lot of fans of the show were like really upset about it.
In fact, on Rotten Tomatoes, 92%, and 74%.
Yeah, no, it's extremely highly rated. I'll check it out now that we know we're
I'll
getting a
check it
movie.
out.
I'll
So,
check that out this week.
Mhm.
I might
Mhm.
start it after we finish this episode.
So
All
that's
right.
Swamp Thing. Creature Commandos.
Wizard.
First TV show to be released. This looks interesting. This, oh god, this is basically Suicide Squad, right?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
Gunn, yeah, I was going to say, it says Gunn has written the script for all 7 series episodes.
Oh,
This looks like an animated Suicide Squad. I'm in
Pretty
already.
much.
I'm in.
Team put together by Amanda Waller and comprised some of DC's most monstrous characters. Gunn has written the script exactly, already in production, and as Gunn underlines, a new animated DCU project aimed to feature voice cast members who can also play the characters in live action production. So it's
That
pretty
is
much
such a classy
just-
touch.
It's
That's
just-
so
linking the
good.
whole thing together. And I think they're doing the same thing with the video games as well. The voice actors in the video games will be able to act out their characters in live performances as well, live action performances as well. I think they really want to link the whole thing together.
Yeah.
Gunn seems to be making, like, to give 5G a run for his money, eh? Thank
Yeah,
fuck for that.
he's going full evil genius.
Run with
That's
it.
Creature Commandos. Warner, while Doom Patrol was unfortunately cancelled, series creator Jeremy Carver will join forces with Watchmen, right? Ooh,
Oh, okay.
no, a lot of people love that. Have you watched the series, Watchmen?
I've
Yes.
watched it. I love it. I don't know. Alan Moore would have approved of that Watchmen series, because it happens in the timeline is after the original Watchmen, and people were actually kind of hesitant about it, but they pulled it off brilliantly. I think Hong Chow is
Has
the
it been cancelled, Franco? Or
no, it
is
was
still-
it was very well
It
wrapped
was
up,
limited series.
limited
it
series,
was a limited series. Okay.
and I think
I have to watch it, Ostra.
Hong Chow was the villain. Tim Blake Nelson is great in it. There's a good cast. Yes, Hong Chow. Hong Chow was the villain in it.
Okay.
And Lalu, on Rotten Tomatoes, 56% audience rating. How stupid, man! I loved it. Loved it.
I watched 2 episodes. I found it a bit slow.
Wait for it. There's one episode with Dr. Manhattan, and how he perceives time. Wah.
And I love the Watchmen graphic novel. I've read it a couple of times. And controversial opinion, I love the Snyder movie of Watchmen.
The
I love
Snyder,
it.
So do I.
Snyder movie.
And is that a controversial take?
Even more
Yes.
controversial take. I like the change he made to the ending because in the case of a film, it's more believable.
Fair enough.
And in the comics, the ending, like the whole reason for it, is extremely wacky. Like it goes full fucking comic book. At the
Yes,
end.
yes.
But with how grounded he made that film, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense that you make that
This-
change.
The series follows the comic book ending, though, not the movie
Yes,
ending.
yes, I know.
And the Dr. Manhattan is played by,
Isn't it Yahya Abdul Mateen?
that's the one who was in
Yeah.
Candyman.
And
It's
he
a
was
great
he's
choice,
what-
huh?
He's Black Manta in Aquaman.
Oh, okay.
He was also in that. What was that movie? The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Yeah,
I believe
yeah, he
as
was.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's actually in the very beginning of Jordan Peele's Us as well.
True.
He is.
He is, yes. He plays the girl's dad.
Ooh, okay, interesting. Talking about Waller, guys. So what this means is that Peacemaker and Suicide Squad will still be canon in the DCU.
Fuck yes.
A lot of people will be. I love that. I really enjoyed Suicide Squad, and I adore Peacemaker.
Peacemaker. I can't wait to hear news about that coming back. I love that show.
But I think a lot of people will be like, "Oh, of course, James Gunn leaves his babies."
Yeah, but they were fucking great babies.
But they were good.
I'm sorry. Suicide Squad was criminally underseen at the cinema. It's criminal how people didn't go and watch that film.
I took all my friends to watch it.
Because of the previous one, man.
So I did my part.
Because of the previous one.
Next up, we've got Booster Gold. Any idea about this, guys?
Nope.
Know nothing about
but
this.
knowing what
new
Gunn
stuff.
did with,
I like new stuff.
and knowing what Gunn did with Guardians of the Galaxy, which were also like, who the fuck is Rocket's Raccoon? And then he made those movies.
Is he writing this one?
So Gunn and Safran heard the clamors of the masses and are moving forward with a TV show about the fan favorite character Booster Gold. The Booster Gold series will stick close comic books and feature a loser who travels back in time and tries to become a superhero by using advanced technology as his power source. This sounds amazing.
that gave me vigilante vibes already. So.
Okay.
How good. This sounds really interesting.
I think I have to watch Peacemaker again. Shit.
True. So that's Booster Gold, loser who goes back in time to become a superhero. Lanterns. Okay.
This is interesting. This is very interesting.
From the blackest nights of the Warner Brothers Discovery merger will come Lanterns, a series focused on the two most beloved Green Lanterns in DC Comics history, Hal Jordan and John Stewart. Series draws inspiration from detective stories like HBO's True Detective. Whoa, now we're talking. And will portray the Green Lanterns as space cops investigating a dark crime that takes place on Earth.
I'm in.
This sounds amazing.
Yep. I love the Green Lanterns. I love the Lantern Corps. I'm in. So in.
Even Ryan Reynolds.
They should make this episodic. Like they visit a different world every episode, although that would be bloody expensive.
Yes.
Visit a world every episode and solve a crime. Similar to the series I'm watching right now, Poker Face.
Yeah.
Procedural.
That would be very expensive, but very interesting.
I think what we can take from all of this is, you see, guys, I do like comic book stuff. It's not just Marvel.
True.
Can you imagine Matthew McConaughey as a Green Lantern? Time is a flat.
Oh my god!
Actually, as Hal Jordan, I back it. If you actually, guys, dream casting, because Hal Jordan is typically a white guy and John Stewart's typically a black guy, like in the comics. What if you had Matthew McConaughey and Mahershala Ali as the two lanterns?
Yeah.
Why not?
And they both went through detective.
Yeah. Actually, you know who I do want as John Stewart? I'm going to call it from now. John Boyega. Make it happen.
Yes.
Make it happen.
Yes. And make up for the travesty that was his character.
Yes. I have to agree.
He deserves a big blockbuster hit where he's the focus.
Yep.
Not completely forgotten and retconned. Anyways, let's not get into that. Paradise Lost, which is the final, I think, series we have to talk about. Currently in development at DC Studios, Paradise Lost, a political drama set in Themyscira, Wonder Woman's birthplace. Set years before Diana's birth, the series will explore the political disputes in Themyscira as different Amazons try to seize power for themselves. Show is expected to serve as an origin story of Themyscira itself and reveal how the Amazons created an all-woman society hidden from the rest of the world.
I'm gonna call a dream director for this show. Bet de Araujo. I tried to record the TikTok for Soft and Quiet. She's the director. She has written and directed. She has written and directed Soft and Quiet. And whenever I had to pronounce her name, sorry, Bet de Araujo. Okay, I think she would be great for this kind of series.
Yeah, this sounds very interesting. And again, this is just like what I'm liking, what is exciting me about all this DC news is that we're gonna go back to like my Marvel hating stuff. why I don't like the Marvel series and stuff like that, and why the MCU to me is problematic, because now you're at a point in the MCU where it's like people told me, because I didn't watch WandaVision, I didn't get Wanda's character as much in Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, I told you that.
I shouldn't, as a consumer, have to go and watch an 8-hour TV show in order to understand a forthcoming film. You know?
Fair enough.
Like, for me, I'm just not a believer in that. I think it's too much to ask of an audience. Like, for anyone trying to buy into the MCU right now, and you've got to watch something like 30 films.
Or here's another director, Catherine Bigelow.
Yes.
Ooh,
yes. That would be very good.
That's a big yes.
Very, very good.
Hey, Mr. Gunn.
Oh, this is bloody interesting.
Mr. Gunn,
this is bloody interesting.
Yeah.
As in a period piece political drama.
Yeah. They're choosing really, really interesting projects. It's not like, we're doing a Wonder Woman series where you're going to find out Wonder Woman, what she did between World War II and 1984. No, we're going to tell you the origins of the place where she's from.
And it's very diverse as well.
Yeah,
We've got horror, period piece, goofy guy who wants to go... sorry, this is Green Lanterns. Green Lanterns, so we've got the detective stories, goofy guy who wants to go back into the past. This would be like Peacemaker, mix up. There's basic animation, so stuff for everyone basically, and that is something else the MCU struggles with.
It's almost as if the people in charge are, I mean, in the case of Peter Safran and James Gunn, you've got a producer and you've got an actual filmmaker, not even a filmmaker, a writer, director in charge of this. Whereas with the MCU, you just have a producer. So you have someone who's used to getting money and making money, a complete businessman. Whereas in this one, where you have two at the head, you've got the guy who's the businessman in Peter Safran, who's there to bring in the money and to make the money, and then you've got the artist, and it's what you need, and that's why the projects are so diverse. Like, even just like the fact that I said it's a really nice touch. People that do voice parts in an animated show would also play those characters in live action stuff. It's incredible. Like, that creates like such a synergy between the whole thing. It's ridiculous that I saw 10 different superhero projects, and usually me as like someone who's like, you should go watch a little art house indie film and not a superhero movie. But then I see those, and every single one I go, shit, that's interesting. I'm in for that.
True.
All right, so that's pretty much us done with the DC news. Guys, let us know in the comment section below what you think about all this big news coming out from James Gunn and Peter Safran. Lots of exciting projects, like Joe has said. We are excited for this. Franco is very excited for it as well. We have to wait for quite a while. I mean, the stuff will start coming out in 2025.
Good.
But still,
good. Quality takes time.
Take your time.
Just make it good.
Give us quality. Exactly. All right, moving on. This, I think we can just skim through really quickly, but I just wanted to mention this, the Tomb Raider film in development at Amazon. I really wanted to mention this for two reasons. Number one, last week, Joe, we actually mentioned
Tomb
Raider, do you remember? And
I hate
secondly,
that headline.
Oh, even me. We're the same thing with this, Chad.
I was excited before you told me that. Because I knew Phoebe Waller-Bridge was involved. Why?
But Phoebe Waller-Bridge is involved. So believe, guys. Believe. You know, I mean, Fleabag is one of my top 5 series of all time.
I completely agree. But like,
so anything she does, I will gobble up.
Yes, and even like when she did Killing Eve, she made like the best season of Killing Eve, to be fair. But like,
Marvel-like franchise.
Oh, this is and Franco has used the word before. It's the Marvelization of Tomb Raider, and I never thought I'd say that sentence.
Marvelization of Tomb Raider.
It is. You know,
what world do we live in?
I know, but it's like, we're gonna have a TV series, we're gonna have a movie, we're gonna have a video game. Just relax, guys. Do one, and then see if it does well, and then expand from there.
I agree with Joe. There's no need to add anything. Again, Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Unless they pull the rug under her, I think she will. I predict that she will pull the plug. She will go away.
Yeah, I can't see her sticking with this. Like, as well, like, one thing it sounds really negative, but this is something like I grew up playing Tomb Raider, and I do like at least the first game from like the reboots and stuff. It's too soon to be doing Tomb Raider fresh again. Like the
last one was 2017.
Yeah,
was that
but
the
like if you
Alicia Vikander one?
yeah, but not just in the films. I mean, like even as like a video game, they're talking about like doing like a soft reboot of the games of that trilogy. The first Tomb Raider in that new trilogy. It had been like I think 6 years since like the last actual Tomb Raider game, and it was in a totally new art style, and it was seemingly a different Lara Croft.
I loved it, by the way. For the record, I
like that. I like that.
I
I like that first game. The other two, then they just felt the
Joe,
same.
Joe, quoting Mr. Pink from Reservoir Dogs, world's smallest violin. Like he said, though, I mean,
Yeah.
6 years, calm the fuck down, man.
I doubt she'll drop out from this though, because
No,
there is a lot of money involved.
no.
There is a lot of money.
I mean, well, even Edgar Wright had lots of money involved with Ant-Man and the MCU.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
Fair
thought
enough.
I thought that she'd drop out.
Yeah, I'm gonna reserve judgment as well until I see what the next Indiana Jones is gonna turn out like. 'Cause
True,
anyone is capable of a dud.
That's true.
but
That's true.
But
That's very
it's promising all around because of James Mangold, and James Mangold did a fantastic job with Logan. I still mention it
Yes.
as. But that's a great MCU movie as well, even though it was under the 20th Century Fox.
Because it didn't give a shit about anything else it was connected to.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we'll see how this whole Amazon deal works out. And I still have my reservations. I think there's so much money involved in this that Phoebe Waller-Bridge will at least make a movie out of all of this. I think
6 seasons and
she's
a
not
movie.
going to be starring though as Tomb Raider though.
6 seasons
She's
and
just
a
going
movie.
to write.
Yeah, I think she'd be wrong to star in it. I can't think of who I'd want to star in it. We could always bring up Our Lady and Savior. She'd definitely do a very good job, but I want her to do better things.
Fair enough.
I want more for her.
Okay, no, Gina Rodriguez.
I could see Gina Rodriguez. Yeah,
That's-
possibly.
Yeah, I crush on her hard. Sorry, but she looks like to be honest, she looks like she could pull off a Tomb Raider. Huh?
Lau, heavily pregnant right now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's the first thing that came up.
Not yet, Mela. Just after she's pregnant.
Yes.
Exactly. Okay, moving on to another piece of news that I am super excited for. This is right now my favorite series. Basically, any kind of series that's coming out right now, I always will watch Succession over it. And it's season 4. Guys, you haven't watched Succession, right?
I've watched the first 2 seasons, and
Oh, you
now
have?
this
All right.
will spur me on to blast through season 3 in anticipation for season 4.
I still have to get on the bandwagon.
No, it's brilliant.
You should.
It's really good.
You should. Not much to say here. I mean, I watched the trailer. Joe, I don't think you watched the trailer, right? Because
No, I haven't.
Season
No,
three,
I've
so
avoided it.
Don't. Yeah. More of the same, pretty much. We're actually, yeah, there's no spoilers on the screen. I won't say much about it so as not to spoil, obviously, but it's pretty much more existential angst and familial division, which is pretty much what makes Succession so good. Succession, I think, was the series that actually made me want to talk about movies and TV shows on YouTube.
It's
No,
true.
understandable.
It was the thing that inspired me because I became so passionate about it that my first video was about Extraction, but the first YouTube video script I wrote was actually about Succession.
Yes.
Then I made it into a video a bit later on. But that was the first actual script I ever wrote for a YouTube video. Video on Succession.
Might I go up?
That was up to season 2 by then.
Might I go slightly off on a tangent? And Joe would also be interested to hear your answer. Would you be interested in writing a movie sometime or a TV series? Andrea?
Well, at a younger age, I have written scripts.
Ah,
Like we're talking 7-8 years ago.
But-
I haven't written in a very long time.
I
You-
mean, same, and I'm supposed to be a filmmaker.
you would you would go down the route of Francois Truffaut, because Francois Truffaut started as a critic and then started making movies.
Isn't that the dream? Problem is finding time for the dream.
Yes.
All right, guys. So let me know if you are excited about Succession Season 4 coming out very soon in the comment section below. And let's move on to the next topic. This is going to be basically the big topic of the week. And we've got more Oscar talk. We've had a lot of controversy on the Oscars in the past week. And it pretty much all started with the surprise nomination of Andrea Riseborough, who gained the surprise Best Actress nod for her role in Indie to Leslie after a grassroots campaign backed by A-listers including Kate Winslet, Jane Fonda, Charlize Theron, Gwyneth Paltrow and Amy Adams. By the way, guys, I heard the movie made a big total of $27,000 at the box office.
Because of their distributor.
Thousand.
Because of the distributor, Momentum Pictures did not. I think it was the last movie before it went bankrupt. So
Ooh, okay.
it didn't have
Yeah.
a wide release. There's also Edward Norton who commended this movie as well.
So anyways, let me just read what the Academy released. It is the Academy's goal to ensure that the awards competition is conducted in a fair and ethical manner, and we are committed to ensuring an inclusive awards process. We are conducting a review of the campaign procedures around this year's nominees to ensure that no guidelines were violated and to inform us whether changes to the guidelines may be needed in a new era of social media and digital communication. We have confidence in the integrity of our nomination and voting procedures and support genuine grassroots campaigns for outstanding performances. So, obviously, no specific mention of Andrea Riseborough's nomination. But, I mean, the indication is quite clear, right? That they're obviously referring to this movie. I haven't watched it. Joe, you haven't watched it. Franco, you watched part of the movie.
Yeah,
Your thoughts so far?
I'm halfway in. I mean, she carries the movie on her own shoulders, Andrea Riseborough. So I understand that she deserves this nomination, hands down. I mean, I understand why people campaigned for her, because she was going to go unnoticed. It's I think it's also an emotionally charged performance as well. She has to. I was gonna call it, although it has nothing to do with the movie, but to give you a kind of similar idea of the vibe, it's like leaving Las Vegas, what Nicolas Cage did, basically. But obviously, I feel this has much more the movie feels much more nuanced, has an. So far, I'm liking it. Even Mark Maron as the guy who helps her out is really, has a good performance in it as well.
Joe, I know you have opinions on the Academy's investigation. Tell us.
I do. I think Oscar campaigns are bullshit. Just because. I mean,
And the Oscar doesn't go to Joe.
Yes, no, definitely. It definitely won't. I mean, I get why people enjoy them. I enjoy them as well. Like, I like to get invested. We did a whole pretty much Oscar episode last week where I had like my picks and all of that. But I don't come from a you shouldn't give awards to art, because I do get that it's a nice thing for these people to have their time in the limelight and get given an award and admired by their peers. What I don't like is that it has to be some campaign where you have to do these interviews and you have to appeal to this fucking Academy. Art should get nominated and given an award on its own merit for being art. That's where I feel is the thing. And I know that obviously brings up the question of, like, how can you possibly watch everything and nominate everything? It's a big, complicated thing. But I like, if Andrea Riseborough is very good, why shouldn't she get nominated? And why does it have to be investigated to see if her campaign, played dirty, basically? Why can't she just be nominated on the grounds of this was a really good performance?
It was grassroots, though. No, I mean there was.
Yes,
I
but
don't
you know,
know.
but it goes into like snubs and stuff. Like we'll get into the snubs later, but like
And so just to let you know, this is not the first time that happened. Like on the movie Instagram, back in the 1975, there was we spoke about Ingmar Bergman. His TV series Scenes from a Marriage. There was also a campaign to nominate Liv Ullmann for an Academy Award consideration, and it was signed by Gina Rowlands. Like these are some of the main names: Lisa Minnelli, Elizabeth Taylor, Nuren Bakal, Jane Fonda, Ellen Burstyn, Shirley MacLaine, Ingrid Bergman as well.
yeah. It's a weird one. I don't like that there has to be this campaign and they have to appeal to this, for lack of a better term, cult.
So this part, because I left this part out, but I think this is very important for context. So according to the Los Angeles Times, the film's director Michael Morris and his wife, actor Mary McCormick, contacted nearly everyone, and that's in inverted commas, of their famous friends, asking them to watch the film and spread the word about it on social media. Support soon followed, with Theron hosting a screening back in November, Winslet leading a Q&A, and online posts appearing from others, including Edward Norton and Susan Sarandon. Many posts also included similar wording, referring to the film as a, open inverted commas, a small film with a giant heart, close
True.
inverted commas.
True.
I think that's where the whole issue came. Like, is it...
I mean, is word of mouth marketing illegal these days?
I'm sorry, Ta. I mean, like you said, how much did it make in the box office?
$27,000.
Yeah.
So exactly. So people who didn't have the chance to watch it, then I mean, of course they got to go on. By the way, Michael Morris, I think he was a producer on Better Call Saul as well. Lala, if I had famous friends, I would pull strings as well. Let's as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, like
for
at the end of the
favors.
day, like as you say, like the distributor has gone out of business with this. You want people to see your film, so if you can pull some strings and get the word of mouth going, why the fuck not? Like, that's
Exactly.
what I say. Like, it's not to like belittle Franco in the slightest, but Franco sends us his short film, and then guys, tell me what you think. Show it to other people. Tell me what they think. That's what you have to do. You need to get your art seen.
No, dude. That is, we'll get to it. That is Madonna exhausting, but we'll get to it later on.
I've done it like loads of times. I've sent Franco scripts in the past. Like, listen, like, could you read this and give me some feedback? I've got a friend who works for a production company in Ireland, and I used to send him scripts all the time. Like, listen, you actually work in development. What could I do differently?
Yeah,
what could I do what other people are doing? You have to
hustle.
do these things.
You have to hustle.
And I think the Academy just don't like that a hustle has gotten recognition.
But again, I'm gonna say, like, I recommend it because so far I'm liking it, and Andrea Riseborough just deserved the nomination. Full stop.
She's a great actor. So it doesn't surprise me that she can be nominated for an Oscar.
Just a second, because I have to see where else has she been in.
Oh, she was in, off the top of my head, she was in Death of Stalin.
In Lalo. Wait, was she the victim?
She was Stalin's daughter.
In Lalo. And Possessor as well.
In Possessor as well, yes, I was about to say Possessor. She was in an episode of Black Mirror at one point as well. She's been in loads of stuff over time. Yeah. She's a very good actor. It doesn't surprise me that she's got the capability to be nominated for an Oscar.
She was a Mandy as well.
Yeah, exactly. I was literally about to say it. She was Mandy.
True. And Nocturnal Animals.
Now, guys, to add kindling to the fire, obviously more controversy on this nomination was a hashtag that obviously popped up when the big Andrea Riseborough news came out, which was the expected Oscar so white. Why? Obviously because two favorites for the nomination were Viola Davis for The Woman King and Danielle Detweiler for Till, which I still have to watch and I've been meaning to watch for a very, very long time. So then there's also that. I mean, no Cord want to discuss. We're three white guys.
Yeah, it's awkward for us to discuss. I mean, my standpoint has always been, it's not a fashion show. It's not a statement. At least it shouldn't be, even though it tends to be. The best performances should get nominated, in my opinion. Now, for what? I haven't seen Till, so I can't say. That is one I'm completely ignorant to. Cannot say whether the person should have been nominated or not. Having seen The Woman King, I mean, Viola Davis is good in everything she does, but it's just, wow. That's just me being completely honest. Now, I haven't seen To Leslie either. Being frank, the singular performance which has blown me away from an actress this year was Cate Blanchett in Tar, and that's why I go, okay, she should definitely win that. Second to that is Michelle Yeoh.
True.
Who's Chinese. So it's like, I'm not going to discriminate on those grounds, but I mean, I find these things, and I'm finding more and more issues with American media a lot. It's like, give people an inch and they'll take a mile, especially in the American media.
There's Haneg, like I was gonna say, this sounds controversial, and I'm twisting a bit Martin Luther King. I look forward to the moment that actors are not nominated not for the color of their skin, but for the character of their performance.
Yes, I completely agree.
I agree.
Granted,
However,
the Oscars has a history of being very white and very male-centric.
So, I mean,
yes,
that we have to acknowledge.
However, I have to agree that there's not much visibility to true talent.
Yeah.
I think because I've been thinking about this, but you need visibility first, even though the quality may not be as good. You know, you said you didn't like The Woman King. I cannot comment because I haven't watched it yet. But like you said, remember you said that you saw this black girl enjoying herself.
yes. No, the Woman King, I fully acknowledge, was not for me. It was it definitely was not made with British-born, Maltese-brought-up white meat. And you know what? That's fine. I still think it was
fine.
It was a well-made film. My issues with the film were not to do with any of its message or that. But it wasn't the best directed or written film, which is just, that's objective if you ask me.
My biggest fear is that, okay, I agree with the visibility, but for heaven's sake, give me something like quality. Because, like, for example, let's take Pinocchio. Pinocchio is a great example. Well, okay, you put a black character as the fairy. Fine by that, nothing wrong. She could hold for her performance. But the movie at the end of the day
It's bad, yeah.
was bad.
It becomes,
my God, horrific.
It becomes a virtue signal.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the thing, you know, and which is not good for the campaigning of doing visibility at the end of the day.
Whereas like one thing I love so much about the film, that's you and I both love, Franco, Everything Everywhere All at Once, is that it's such a diverse film in everything about it, and it's so huge that I like that like racial issues didn't even come into it, because it was just,
no,
everyone was just like, this is just a fucking good film.
True.
Who cares about any gender or racial politics to do with anything surrounding its cast or anything to do with it?
And that's a comment I wanted to make about the third episode of Last of Us.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But again, at the end of the day, like we said, we are three white guys. Three white guys.
Yeah, three white guys. We're not the one. We're not gatekeeping anything. We're just giving opinions.
No. Trust me. No, but I'd rather, for example, Jordan Peele said it great. Like Jordan Peele said, he's glad he didn't get to direct Akira, and he'd rather have a whole Japanese production doing it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
Fair enough.
And for example, and for example as well, like what's its name? Cowboy Bebop. Diverse cast, but shit production.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I think that they're doing it on purpose, just to say, you know, look, diversity doesn't work. No, fuck you. It's not that diversity doesn't work. You're not giving enough time for the project to develop well enough.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, you're focusing too much on the politics around it than the actual production itself.
Exactly. Hasanabi said it well, especially when corporations go woke, is just a whole bunch of virtue signaling, and it's just, you're marketing wokeism, basically.
Yeah.
So, Joe, previously you mentioned that there were two performances which really wowed you this year, two female performances which really wowed you this year.
There was a third.
Indeed. I would add a third. And the actress had a lot to say about the Oscars as well.
Preach.
And that is Mia Goth.
10 on
Because
10,
Mia Goth
10 on 10
and
segue.
I 100% agree completely with her. And this is something I've been saying for a very, very long time. Mia Goth calls for change after horror films get shut out at 2023 Oscars.
Yep.
Because this has been obviously a big week for the film industry, but not for horror movies, because it has been a growing problem that the Academy gives zero attention
nothing
to one of the most popular and one of the genres that gives us the most quality. And the past few years of horror have been incredible. We've gotten some of the best horror movies of all time in the past few years. Mia Goth obviously had a lot to say about that. So in a recent interview with Jake Stakes promoting her new horror film Infinity Pool, which I am so looking forward to seeing, Goth didn't mince words. I think that it's very political. It's not entirely based on the quality of a project per se. There's a lot going on there and a lot of cooks in the kitchen when it comes to nominations. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but I think that's true. I think a lot of people know that. Goth would finish off saying a change is necessary, a shift should take place if they wanted to engage with the wider public. I think it would be of benefit, really, obviously, to nominate horror movies. And that leads us to our discussion of the day, which is who was snubbed in these Oscars. First of all, guys, do you like to comment about Mia Goth's comments on horror films getting shut out at the 2023 Oscars?
I mean, she's right. It happens every year. I think for the last couple of years, we've seen at least one fantastic performance, particularly from a female actress, that gets completely ignored when it comes to Oscar time. There's one behind me in Midsummer, Florence Pugh. She's incredible in Midsummer. But before that, in Ari Aster's first film, Toni Collette in Hereditary.
I still cannot understand.
That was one where, like, when I watched it, I'm like, this is the best she's ever been for a great actress. And I'm like, I remember watching it still, and it finished. I'm like, she's gonna get her Oscar nomination with that. And then Oscars come and go. But it's such a weird thing for a genre which is, one, so bankable because horror films make money, so there's that aspect to them. But for such a genre which is so good at exploring the deep dark recesses of humanity and also like politics and everything in between, it just gets ignored completely. I think the last significant technical horror to win something at the Academy Awards, and I think it's more of a thriller, but it definitely has horror relevance, is when Jordan Peele won Best Screenplay for Get Out. Otherwise, I can't really name anything around that.
Screenplay best, ġifieri.
Yeah, and that's what he was up for.
No, the Oscars tend to be very bland and very safe choices.
That's why Elvis and Spielberg have been winning everything this year.
Apparently, there was an article on The Guardian where they say Fabelmans has something better to say about art than Tar. I'm like,
that's because Fabelmans tells you what things you should feel by characters telling you how to feel.
I mean, let's imagine you watch, let's take X. I preferred Pearl, but let's take X.
Okay.
And then you watch Elvis. And you make the decision to choose Elvis, which I didn't hate personally, but you make the conscious decision to put X in Best Picture, to put Elvis in Best Picture, and not X.
Yeah.
No,
how? It's mad. It's.
I know art is subjective, but
yeah, it's a popularity contest. It's not down to actual objectivism or anything like that, or actual craft. Because even if you take into account what X was made with and how it was made, it's ridiculous. I mean, you could something okay, Elvis is big and it's loud and it's colorful and it's fast moving, but it's also like it's like one of my favorite lines from The Lord of the Rings, like butter spread over too much bread.
Oh, nice.
Do you
Whereas in
remember,
X
guys?
is like I love Pearl as well, and I love X as well. I kind of love them equally, but they're both so tight as films. Like they don't outstay their welcome, and their scripts are like everything is necessary, which is in the film.
Guys, do you remember that the Bohemian Rhapsody did it win, or was it nominated for best editing?
It won best editing.
It's
One
one,
best editing.
it's one.
But here's the anecdote of that story, because apparently the editor, let me mention his name because this I tell you why I am going to mention his name. I saw this on YouTube called This Guy Edits. Let me check the editor quickly. Editing. John Ottman. Now, John Ottman justified that kind of editing because he had to save the film in the post-production, because this was such a problematic production, especially with Bryan Singer. In fact, Dexter Fletcher, who went on to direct the Elton John biopic, which I still haven't seen, and I feel that it's much better than Bohemian
I like
Rhapsody.
Rocketman.
It is much better.
Yeah,
It is much better.
It has a soul.
It
See,
does.
And John Ottman says it's like I had to basically salvage the movie all by himself. So it's almost his Oscar was like, dude, good job, you deserve all that time. And even though I think he was self-aware enough to say that it was not this was the best that he could do with the coverage that he got on a scene like that, you know. I mean, some of the times, like Bryan Singer was not on set, so there's that to consider as well.
Jesus.
Again, it's the Arad. All I'm going to say, the Oscars have to be like from bottom up. It has to take, like Mia Goth said, though, she said that it needs a major rehaul to address issues of diversity and visibility, which I completely behind, you know, consider the, in fact, I don't know who said, I think Martin McDonough said that it's time to scrap Best Actor and Best Actress and make the...
Just have
why
best
the hell
performance.
is it still a thing?
Exactly.
Like this isn't sports where, you know,
The one has an unfair advantage, yeah.
like
No,
Kate Blanchett would win the whole thing, in my opinion.
Oh, Mela.
Carry the whole thing.
Anyway, I forgot if Scorsese said it, that sometimes like festivals are overrated. Like, why should I give an award? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, but again, like with this issue of John Ottman, I think he deserves recognition for basically saving the film Bohemian Rhapsody, which I still haven't watched, to tell you the truth. I saw that scene, Madonna. That scene was nauseating by how badly edited it was.
No, that's...
But
I feel for him having to try and save that, but then it doesn't result in a well-edited film. But like, he's trying to do the best with what he had at the same time.
Yes. So that's why I said that's why they gave him the Oscar, to tell you, you know, to put a golden pat on the back.
And one last thing about the Oscars, please stop this fucking fixation with fucking biopics. Please. Biopics are not the be-all and end-all of movies. Stop with fucking biopics and please go watch some good horror.
Yep.
Which Elvis, sorry.
Retweet. I mean, The Fabelmans is basically a biopic.
Yes.
But I really like The Fabelmans, so I won't criticize on that.
I like it too. I just don't think it's as good as people are saying it is.
So, we've been criticizing the Oscars a lot. Now is your opportunity. Biggest snubs. Go for it. We just go through them really quickly.
Pearl.
Joe, do you want to start?
Pearl, at least, for the performance and even a screenplay. It's a great screenplay. Oh, there's a lot. I think for production design, The Northman.
True.
Oh yes,
True.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's so accurate in like its attention to detail. How's it not get there? Soundtrack, The Batman. I'm sorry, why is it not there?
Green Knight. Green Knight was at the same time as Northman, or
No,
No, Green Knight was the year
Green Knight
before.
the year before. Year before, that was an incredible film as well.
Yeah.
I can't think of all that many. I just agree with. For me, it's more a case of things have been nominated which shouldn't have been nominated. So Elvis for Everything is one that shouldn't have been nominated, if you ask me.
the more you talk about it, the more I have to see it now. I haven't seen it, but
I need you to watch it, Frank, because I need someone to be on my side. I need someone.
no, it's because to be honest, again, the immediate comparison I have to make is Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
The moment Sacha Baron Cohen dropped out of it, because Sacha Baron Cohen was basically Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
I said something is not good.
Mhm.
Something is not good. Apparently, even the band wanted to do the movie about how they managed to stay without it. But I'm sorry, it's like you're saying, Red Hot Chili Peppers without John Frusciante.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
No, it's Bohemian Rhapsody is not good either, for the record.
And plus, not only that, speaking of diversity, they washed over the fact that he was a large gay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty much.
And,
Pretty much. Franco, any Oscar snubs you would like to mention?
No, not much. Pearl off the top of my mind. Pearl, even for technical production value for sure, because they really managed to
Yes.
the clothes, the makeup, the script, the Mia Goth's performance. Quickly, guys. Do you find it freaky hearing her real voice?
Yes. Extremely.
How? That's even more reason to nominate her for best performance.
Yeah.
You know,
Did you see the trailer, the Infinity Pool trailer?
Yeah, she's speaking in her real accent.
But there's a moment in the trailer where she's like laughing, shouting with a pistol in her hands, like
Yeah.
and that is so
she's very good. Very good at the over the top stuff, but with it not seeming over the top, which is a very
exactly.
very difficult thing to do.
Mhm.
In the
Mhm.
A24 group, apparently someone posted a picture she took with her and Shia LaBeouf. I think they were filming
I saw it. Yes,
Yeah.
I saw it.
They were filming
Well, she-
Nymphomaniac.
Yeah, she has a baby with Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, damn.
They were married, and then they were going to get a divorce, and then like it kind of went quiet for ages, and then suddenly they were having a baby.
Oh shit.
Now you mean?
Yeah, no, the baby's been born. She has a daughter, I believe, with Shia LaBeouf.
Damn.
Okay.
Jeez.
Yeah, they have a daughter, Isabel, born in March
Okay.
2022.
Okay.
They got lonely during
Congrats.
pandemic. Sorry.
And then before or after, she made Pearl and X as well.
With regard to my snubs, I've obviously got Mia Goth as Best Actress, Decision to Leave.
Yes, it's
True.
a big one.
Which
Decision to
not
Leave.
only was it snubbed from Best International, but from Best Picture, in my opinion. As in Decision to Leave should be one of the top 10 movies of the year, in my opinion.
Nice.
In every element, performances, the editing, the cinematography,
The transitions.
that camera work
The
was
transitions.
incredible stuff, man. It's so innovative and so I can't believe that movie did not get any love. Another movie I'm upset is not in Best Picture, but I understand, is After Sun, which, as you guys know, is my
Okay.
favorite movie of the year.
Yeah.
But
At least there is
Pascal.
Pascal. And for Best Screenplay, there are some movies which I think should have gotten more attention. The Menu, for example, I think very good screenplay. Barbarian, I think, should get a lot
Yes.
more attention for screenplay.
Yes.
And obviously Pearl.
Even
You can switch Pearl with X.
Yeah.
I personally have a bit more love for Pearl, but I also really like
here
it.
as
Even-
well.
even Barbarian for costume and makeup.
True, because
True.
that was very practical. And
Yeah.
the menu did get soundtrack, because the soundtrack was great as well at the menu.
No, they didn't get soundtrack.
No.
That's another snub, Mela. Colin Stetson.
Yeah.
But I think Babylon is probably going to win that. I think
Babylon
there's
probably
been a
should win
lot of
soundtrack.
love for
in
its
fact,
soundtrack
in fact,
recently.
Snubs, Babylon for Best Picture, in my opinion.
True.
That's a
No,
big snub.
I mean,
And
for
even,
obvious reasons,
even Chazelle for Best Director.
but for obvious
Really?
reasons, because it
Yes,
does
no,
take
for sure.
quite
Yes.
a number of jabs against Hollywood, I heard.
It
I'm
does,
really
but
looking forward to it.
It takes jabs at Hollywood, but it also accepts that, like, look, this is just the way it is at the same time.
It's the nature of the monster.
Yes, exactly. Oh, I need to watch Babylon again.
Friday now we're going to
Friday,
watch it.
we're going to watch it
I'm looking
Friday.
forward to it.
No, but quick trivia. You know Colin Stetson, Hereditary, he mostly uses, I don't think he uses any other instruments apart from trumpets and trombones and other wind instruments to make his soundtracks. That or either before he made the soundtracks of Hereditary.
Okay. So, guys, let us know in the comment section below, who do you think got snubbed in the Oscars? Do you agree that Mia Goth should have been nominated for Best Actress? Of course you do. You watch our podcast. All right, moving on. And we've got a number of movies and series to discuss. And we're going to start off, obviously, Franco, with Night Owl,
Okay.
Seoul Stories Short Film. Well, Franco, would you like to start, or do you want my comments?
No, I'd love to hear comments. Vash, this is something that I'm trying to put out there a lot, especially within the Maltese filmmaker community. Like getting as much comments as you can, be open about it, being aware that your movie is flawed at the end of the day, which like I see many flaws, and I told you the first screening, there's a particular thing I really don't like, the central performance. Like if I had to redo it again, I would recast my role, for example, for sure.
So I completely disagree with that.
See,
100%, 1,000% disagree, because your performance in it was so authentic and so real.
Okay.
And the emotions came out so strongly that would be the biggest mistake you could ever do, in my personal opinion, my very honest and frank opinion.
To tell you the truth, pero again, it came out of necessity, because like Maltese actors in Korea, how they don't know. I think if in this movie, this was one of the biggest fuck it's. I said, it's like, fuck it, I have to just say it's like I've always wanted, because the idea I've always wanted to hear again, because the first time when I saw Brickuni and the Korean landscape working together, so I was like, okay, the next step would be see someone speaking Maltese in a completely foreign context and make a movie around it,
I mean, I loved it. I told you many times now. I really loved it. And I thought the camera work was excellent. One of my favorite scenes is one of the very first scene where you're calling your friend. The whole backdrop is stunning, beautiful. It's one of the first movies I've watched in a very, very, very long. Actually, I don't think I ever empathized as much, because it's obviously a movie about themes that I've thought about, like personally, as a Maltese person, was always wanted, and same exact words from my girlfriend. These are thoughts and themes that we think about we've thought about constantly in our lives.
Yes,
so to see them shown so beautifully on screen is something I haven't experienced. I experienced it a little bit with TLOU, but obviously those were different themes that, but still there were some elements which I really empathized with in TLOU. But with I felt this was almost a movie made for me.
Okay.
I use it sometimes. This was a movie made for me, made for someone like me, who I love my country. I love Malta, and I love this country, and I'm very proud that I'm from here. But we have so many issues, and you constantly mention complain, and we do nothing about it. And I do the same thing. I complain, but what do I do about it? Nothing. So I just talk and complain on Facebook.
No, that was the intention. The intention was Sorry, this is really strange talking about my own stuff. I mean, because there's always this element tipo lallu how kemmu kieżaħda, but it's I had to tell you something. One, yes, I had the fear about it maybe being too personal, because one of the main things that I kept in mind while writing is how personal should I make it, and if this personal thing is a universal thing as well. In fact, that's why I'm really looking forward to have a diverse audience, not just Maltese but also foreigners as well. Like, would they also empathize with my character, or is it just very country specific? You know, because that's another reason why much of the characters, I didn't want it to be just my story. Like I explained back in the first screening, I said that my character would be the common thread of other people's stories. And also, I also wanted to combat a bit that, you know, there was this white person in Asia, you know, like I wanted to make a sort of anti-Lost in Translation. Because Lost in Translation, one, it's slightly racist, even though I love the movie. And two, it's like it's always the character finds himself thanks to the help of the Asian characters. Where in my case, I said the secondary characters are like, we're done with you. Just you have to get your own shit together. It is also, I'm gonna be completely honest, that is also one of a good friend of mine. What a good friend of mine told me as well. And in fact, at first it was going to be one character, the character of Rene and Chloe. But then I split it in a sort of like good cop, bad cop kind of thing. And one where she goes like, basically she externalizes her anger. And the other woman basically says, like, she tries to keep it, tries to save it, but again, it's like, this guy is beyond saving. You know, he's closed in his own mind, and that's it. And what else I wanted to say? Yes, something I experienced when I was there. I think that's one of the things that spurred me to move abroad. I want to combat my Malteseness. I think we've never seen, apart from, I'm going to mention Simone Spiteri, apart from Repubblica Immaculata, I've yet to see, I think I also have to call that part of the inspiration. Apart from Repubblica Immaculata, I've never seen an artwork really challenge who we really are as Maltese people, you know? And not just go like, pastizzi, luzzu, xnafien, tafimni.
I mean, I think what you're saying is it's about diversifying yourself.
But then again, we are also a diverse. We I don't know why we deny we are a diverse nation, being bang in the middle of the Mediterranean, and not coming to terms with the fact that we're a mixture of cultures, and then we go out and say, go back to your country to Allah foreigners, you know.
Yeah, we're a weird breed. We're a weird breed.
We are a weird breed. And I feel like the Maltese are very much what they are. It's very Maltese. As you say, we're very diverse. Even just our language is essentially a clusterfuck of every other country that's colonized us beforehand. Which
that's the perfect word. Clusterfuck. We are a clusterfuck of different cultures.
But
in every element.
But then again, that was something that was going on through my mind. Like I noticed something that it's not exactly a disadvantage, but I noticed, for example, a Korean who has lived in America, they're in two ways about it. I was very fascinated by it. It's like, aren't we the same? We don't have an identity as such, whereas our identity is, like you said, a clusterfuck of cultures, which is not bad per se, definitely. No. But we have to accept it. We cannot accept Maltese as some kind of like pure Aryan race.
No.
And I agree. And that's the complexity, the complexity of our nature, you know, and the fact like we are not allowed to live our lives on this country. And then we end up. I think that's what spurs me as well, because I know I made it very personal, but at the same time, the fact that many of the characters said stop fucking complaining and do something about it. It's something many of us, not just Maltese most probably, but I feel it all around the world that they feel that kind of feeling right now. So I spoke.
100%.
So if like, but do tell me more, like more comments, because I don't want to speak at all.
I'm excited to see it, because having worked with you briefly before and having seen the other work that you're capable of, like your Bracuni video was one of the best, I guess, for lack of a term, Maltese produced music videos I'd ever seen, to be completely honest. So no, I'm looking forward to it. I've actually set aside time tomorrow to finally watch the cut that you sent me, and I'll be sure to give you some thoughts.
No, I'm I obviously, like, for the next screenings, I think it's good to have these screenings because I'm trying to fix slowly polish it even more. So the first screening, most of the time, they basically were the guinea pigs, Andrea. But and I was very surprised by how positively it was received. Like, okay, did I get something right? You know?
I watched the rough cut and I got emotional. I watched it in the first screening and I got emotional again. My girlfriend was on the verge of tears. Francesca was bawling her eyes out on the front. I think the reactions are clear.
Cassandra as well, she thought she got emotional. Cassandra.
Because it's, let's be honest now, let's be brutally honest. We are the perfect audience for that kind of movie. The people who were in the first screening. I'll be really interested to see how a more diverse audience would react to it. As in, objectively, quality-wise, the movie is quality. As in, the camera work is great. The dialogue is objectively very, very interesting, well written. It moves, it makes you smile, it makes you laugh, it makes you, ooh, okay, wow, that's so it makes you think. So that is objectively very good. What I would be interested in, and I'm sure you are, Franco, is how will people empathize with the issues and the themes which are very challenging and which will make you think. We are the perfect audience for those kinds of themes. I would be interested to see a more diverse audience, not just with regard to nationality, but even Maltese people who are maybe not the like university, people who watch tons and tons and tons of movies, crazy cinephile people. Like even like the general movie-going audience who just watch 10 movies a year, 10, 15 movies a year. I would be really curious to see how they react to this kind of movie.
Me too. Yeah, that's one thing that I want to see is like people who are not as aficionados as we are as well. But there were a couple of people over there where they were like, one of them told me like she was positively surprised. Like she came in expecting like, oh, this is another wannabe, so speaking honestly, and then she was like, okay. This guy made some interesting points. No, but that was the main thing. Like I wanted to be raw and honest as possible and push forward. Again, but I don't want it to be about me because that's something I try to combat it. I also gave the characters to tell their own story as well. Like these are all, like I said, these are all true. The first character I meet, the first Korean character of my ex, it is a conversation I generally had with a partner of mine, and it's not a question of a clash of cultures. It was also a clash of, are we indecisive people as Maltese at the end of the day as well? Because that's also someone who's like one of the actors told me couldn't understand why this scene is there. I tried to explain to her there's this kind of indecisive nature about us, like just fucking go and make a decision and go for it, And there's also the I was surprised by René, who the actress is also called René. Oh, by the way, the writing, I also have to mention that it was also written almost, I could say, I did write the script, but then again, some of the stories were contributed by the actors themselves. Like when the actress of Chloe mentions that she was in Malta, that's completely her experience about her being in Malta.
Okay,
So
that's interesting.
So that's another thing, you know, and it's not just me saying, so trying to see it from a different perspective. But when I met her, the actor's like, she told me, she told me I've been in Malta. It's now that you're mentioning is, you know how funny, you know how we met actually, randomly at a bar.
Of course he did.
Not joking, not joking, not joking. Like. There was a group of girls, and then they were like always looking at me because I was speaking Korean. It's like, how this foreign guy speaking Korean? And then I mentioned that I am Maltese, and one of them was like, really, I've been there. I spent 4 months there. I loved it there. And immediately it's like, huh? And she told me that she's an actress, blah blah blah. Okay, and I told her to get on board. So those are some trivia stuff as well.
Trivia on Franco's movie.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So make sure you check out the next screening for Night Owl Seoul Short Story. I cannot emphasize enough. I mean, obviously, I know Franco very well now. I'm not saying this because I'm his friend. I'm saying this objectively. I really loved it. I got super emotional. Deep down, I hated it. But please, check where the next screening is going to be. I know you're going to try and do one in the south, one in Gozo, right?
So,
Franco?
so far, I'm still in talks to do it with Kishot in Mosta and the theater next door in Matap. Basically, it's almost confirmed. I just need to refine the details, make the posters.
Very good.
And the next one for sure is going to happen on the 10th of February in Movement Graffiti office in Valletta. There's a Facebook event. We can also put a
That
link.
should be very interesting.
Yes, because the Movement Graffiti screening is also going to be followed not just by Q&A. Basically, every screening there's going to be a Q&A. But the one for graffiti, there's also a discussion about Malta's brain drain.
Yes, we were talking about this day at work, actually.
That's true. So,
Very interesting.
yeah, so the next one is 10th February, 7 p.m. Doors open, €5, admission free. There's a bar over there as well by Supplied Graffiti. Thank you, Movement Graffiti, as well for hosting the event. And I want to say thank you to my actors as well for being patient with me. Okay, I haven't told this particular detail, but I didn't want it to be a sob story. But I made this movie. Vishtara, when I said I really wanted to manifest it, I made this movie technically homeless when I was technically homeless in Korea. So, and it's like if anything didn't work, I said I'm going to put all my energies to finish this movie no matter what. It's not ideal. Again, I cannot emphasize enough the importance of having a solid, well-gelled team. Part of the reason why the Spazio Creative screenings were cancelled were my fault because I couldn't get all the technical stuff done on time.
Blame it on Spazio Creative.
No. Andrea, genuinely, trust me, this was all my fault, and actually they've been very gracious about it. They've been very, very gracious about it. And I still have to
Fair enough.
finally sort out some of the stuff. But again, I'm still waiting for job money to do that. But they've been very gracious about it. And again, but now it was, like I said, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. Sorry for not letting the credits roll, but I was so fucking nervous. I was behind you, Andrea, and I was like, I don't know.
I know.
Sorry, I was jumpy, huh?
All right, Franco. Lala, that was really good. Okay.
What else did you think? I'm really curious about Trizian. Is Trizian also a film buff?
She loves movies. I don't think she would call herself a film buff, but no, she watches a lot of TV.
Okay.
I think she watches more TV than I do.
Okay.
But she loves to watch, Netflix, a lot of Netflix shows and Disney Plus shows. She's into that kind of stuff. No, like I said, she loved it. She was almost in tears. Tristian is someone who, I mean, honestly, if she wasn't dating me, she probably wouldn't be in Malta right now.
That's true.
So she 100% empathized with all your thoughts.
Okay.
Like, she saw herself in you, basically, in the movie. So,
Interesting.
yeah. You know, she loved it. She loved it. She loved it. And even like quality-wise, again, she told me she really enjoyed the conversation. Actually, what she wanted to ask you was the argument you have with Renee.
Mm-hmm.
That felt very personal. Like, was that something you experienced yourself, or was it more inspired by anything in particular?
No, funny enough, that was not the argument. That was not the argument we had in real life. The argument we were having was I was totally exhausted. I was working with a production company, and the boss was just like didn't know shit about production, and it was tough as nails. And my friend told me, "Listen, Franco, if stop complaining." That was the inspiration. However.
Okay.
So the TikTok part was just there's the main argument, but the real argument lies underneath. The real stuff is that there are actors that cannot speak openly about certain stuff that goes behind the scenes. The real stuff is also when she mentions that she's afraid to, like, she doesn't want to go back to America, basically, because she is generally afraid of not returning home, not being able to make it home. And that's like, I wrote it. I had something in my mind, and I said, listen, I wasn't happy with what she said. So I told her, this is yours, but I know that I wanted you as a character. Make it yours. That's how I said about her character, and she made it hers, basically. I was surprised. Like, I told her, is this really your fear? She told me, basically, yes, not just mine, but as a Black American in America right now.
Shall we move on, guys?
Yep.
We've got 3 things I think we can skim really, really, really quickly through. Franco, you watched When You Finish Saving the World.
Yes.
Really, really quickly. Your thoughts?
Okay. I'm gonna do a more sort of in-depth review on TikTok. But what I can say is it's a solid Jesse Eisenberg debut. I'm mostly not convinced with the color palette because it was tiring at the time. He has a very strange beige quality to it, and for a whole movie to be like that, it was kind of like muted, bland. That was my only qualm with it. But otherwise, I'm not understanding the hate it's receiving because. Julianne Moore and Finn Wolfhard as two self-absorbed, insufferable individuals were very convincing. By no means is it a masterpiece. Like, I don't understand why it's 5.8. I generally don't understand why it's 5.8. And I'm really, I want to check if you manage to see it, guys. I want to see what you think about this. But Julianne Moore, I loved her performance. Finn Wolfhard, when he goes like, oh, because I have 2,000 followers on my hi-hat. I mean, isn't it what's like, we have the perps, we say in Malta, that they have more than 15,000 followers. It's like sometimes reviewers hate seeing themselves being portrayed in a very raw light, and perfect timing, like 1 hour 30 minutes, doesn't overstay its welcome. And it's perfect. Again, like I said here, it's like the notes I took was, I really enjoyed the cringy, awkward moments in it. It's mostly about seeking validation, not just by Finn Wolfhard's character Ziggy, but also by his mother Evelyn, who she replaces her son with a teenage boy she has in her shelter, and that moment I was like, oh, and. Speaking of good performances, I have to give a shout out to Billy Burke, because as the unassuming teenage boy in the shelter, he was very convincing as a very gentle, sensitive boy as well. Anyway, bottom line, not a masterpiece, but a solid debut nonetheless. And I'm looking forward to see what Jesse Eisenberg does next.
Okay, so that's When You Finish Saving the World. I will try and watch it this week.
Same.
And I'll give you my thoughts in the next episode. I watched quite a lot of stuff this week. Let me start with the positive. And this is a series I was very much looking forward to. The first 4 episodes came out last week on Thursday, and overall, I thought they were great. Natasha Lyonne is Natasha Lyonne, and she is so charismatic. She can act in her sleep. I hear a lot of criticism for her voice, but there's just something about her voice which just makes me smile. Her personality is so bubbly and so in your face. So I love Natasha Lyonne in this. I have a love-hate relationship with Rian Johnson.
We know.
There's some stuff I love, some stuff, fair enough, some stuff I quite like, some stuff I hate. Poker Face will fall between like and love. So it's very good. I think it's a solid series, which I will continue watching, definitely. I will not stop watching Poker Face. However, by the 4th episode, maybe it's because I binge-watched it, I did start to find it a little predictable. And I mean, that's obviously the whole structure of the series, right? You've got 15 minutes. The opening 15 minutes of each episode is seeing the murder taking place. Then we see the whole murder taking place from Natasha Lyonne's character's point of view, Charlie Cale's point of view. And then eventually she solves it. Now, obviously, there is the big elephant in the room, which is Charlie Cale can basically tell if someone is lying or not, which basically is the catalyst to solving most of the problems. Now, that is a bit of an issue because there isn't a lot of smart thinking going on here. It's just, ooh, that's bullshit. And okay, case solved. So there's that little bit of an issue there. I'm really generalizing here, guys. It's much better than what I'm saying. So the writing is not that bad. So they do get into detail about then after she notices that someone's bullshitting their way, she starts to investigate and everything. So there's more to it. But there's always that, oh, okay, that person is lying, so he must be guilty. So let's find out why he's guilty now. There's that, which is obviously the whole concept of the show. I am enjoying it. I recommend it. I recommend watching it. I think it's a very good series. Natasha Lyonne carries it strongly on her 2 shoulders. So that's Poker Face. Another thing I watched, which I don't have the time to rant about, but I will just say that fucking you people fucking sucks. And considering the talent on screen and in the writer's board, I am shocked. Because when I watched the trailer, I thought this was going to be hilarious. But all the funny jokes are in the trailer. So just watch the trailer, laugh, smile at the trailer, because I actually laughed watching the trailer. But those are the only funny moments in the whole movie. That's it. Nothing else. It's just 2 hours, and why the fuck is this movie 2 hours? Like, it feels so long,
man. It feels
man.
long for a comedy.
It keeps on going and going, and every conversation is the same. Every conversation has to be about race. Now, obviously, the Jewish guy marrying an African-American person. Obviously, race is a big issue here. Culture clash is a big issue here. But you cannot make 2 hours of people just talking about race. I promise you, there is not one conversation in this movie in which race is not the main theme, the main focus of the whole thing. It's just that. And obviously some generational issues, like with obviously Eddie Murphy, and
It's not nuanced, did you feel?
nuanced. This is the opposite of nuanced. This is like, that's nuanced. This is you people. Like,
I like how I triggered him.
this is,
Just with one
my
word.
girlfriend stopped watching it. My girlfriend stopped watching it after like 30 minutes, not even 30 minutes. She thought it was horrible, and I think it's horrible, and I just suffered through the whole thing just so I can do the review.
So this basically falls on what I said earlier. They're so focused on diversity and whatnot and being woke and whatnot, and not focusing enough on the quality. And I think this is
Obviously, you need to mention the culture clash that there was.
but
Jewish person marrying an African American. That obviously is going to be one of the major themes. But at least make it funny. If this wasn't funny,
Yeah, there's a ways and
Anyways.
means.
I think it's better off if you watch like what's its name? Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? Sidney Poitier. The Sidney Poitier.
I should have. Or I should have watched The Empty Man instead of this fucking trash.
Yes.
God damn it. Let's get into something really good, guys, because we have a few more minutes. Just a few minutes. We don't really have time, Joe, to get into the whole argument.
Nah.
No, get into it. I forgot my popcorn.
We
Where's
will.
my
We're gonna.
popcorn?
We need to cut out the part where cut out this right now. We need to cut out the part where we had like a 10 minutes break anyway. So we'll have time.
So, let me be clear and make this clear before I let Joe talk, because Joe hasn't talked in a while. But let me be clear before we get into The Last of Us episode 3. I loved the episode. I really enjoyed the episode. The more I think about it, the more positive I am about it. But there's a big but. Joe, you go first.
Okay. First of all, spoilers for episode 3 of The Last of Us. It's getting increasingly difficult to talk about The Last of Us without spoilers.
Spoiling it.
Consider this spoilers for the TV show and also spoilers for the game. Franco, I assume you're not going to go back and play the game, are you? You need the PS4 to do that.
Honestly, being out of the game myself, I'm really enjoying it so far.
Yeah. But I think you'd be curious to know how this episode differed from the games.
No, here's something about things not following directly the source material. Like I said, for example, let's mention Naked Lunch. Naked Lunch, like I said, it's a great spiritual adaptation of the book Naked Lunch. I read the book and I saw the movie. And when I was thinking about the movie, I said, it's a good choice what David Cronenberg did with that movie. But American Psycho. American Psycho, I didn't like it. I felt American Psycho, the book is very, very dark, gory, I would say. I understand that you had to like leave out much of the time, but as far as the movie, they say being something incredible, not really. It didn't make anything about it. Fight Club is
You don't think American Psycho is incredible?
the movie. I very much prefer the book. Have you read the book?
No,
Never
I
read the
haven't.
book.
But the movie is incredible.
I like the film a lot.
You haven't read the book, man. Trust me.
No, I haven't read the book, but the movie is incredible.
Okay. We'll save that one. Let's get to
Yes.
let's get to
No,
our
but,
chat to The Last of Us. On The Last of Us.
So basically, I really don't. If it's done well enough, I don't care if they.
Yeah. But no, just because we'll get into some spoilers to do with what concerns the game in this as well. But
Oh,
basically,
that's-
we have episode 3 of The Last of Us. People who played the game knew that a certain character named Bill was going to turn up at some point. And if you saw any of the trailers, and if you saw any of the press about it, you knew this was going to be Nick Offerman, which for me, I was extremely excited to know that Bill was going to be played by Nick Offerman, especially... One, because Bill in the game is basically the character of Ron Swanson, but a psychopath, like it's more of a psychopath. But also because Nick Offerman is a seriously good actor, like especially in stuff like Devs. Devs is, I think, a criminally unseen show, which he basically carries. But anyway, we have
Can I
here-
say, Joe? Can I say about
Mhm.
Nick Offerman? Can someone give this guy just one movie where he's been protagonist?
Yes, I completely agree.
Have you seen him?
Completely agree.
Have you seen him, the founder, as well?
Yes. No, anything he does, he's great. He's just a very
And-
good actor. But anyway,
And Deus as well. Devs. Sorry.
Devs. But we have here what I am calling, because Andrea, when we've gone back and we've talked about video game adaptations, and like we said, for example, with God of War, we're like, why are you going to adapt the story of the game? Like you have to add to something, right? And so far, with the first episode of The Last of Us, my only issue with it, and I love everything about The Last of Us so far in both the games and also the TV series. But my only underlying issue that there has been with the TV series is that beat for beat on the emotional parts and also the story beats for the first 2 episodes, I knew everything that was going to happen. I knew when it's going to happen. I knew how it's going to happen. They changed very little from the game in the first 2 episodes, particularly the opening of like how the outbreak happens in Texas for Joel, that whole part. It's almost shot for shot a remake of the game, which is great. It looks fantastic. It's great. It's not a complaint. But I love that for this entire episode. I was just thinking, where are they going with this? But in the best way. Because when you meet Bill in the games, you've got this grizzled, crazy person that has turned an entire town into one big death trap. And basically through the game, they meet Bill and they convince him and they end up getting a car battery and they get a truck and they leave. Whereas in this episode, instead, you get a little bit of an intro with some Ellie and Joel banter, which is necessary because you need to see that. You need to see that they're becoming a bit banterous and a bit less serious as time goes on, despite the tragedy of Tess dying in the previous episode. But then I like that. Like, the main thing I like is Ellie walks up to that like mass grave, basically. And then it does that nice cut where the rag on the ground, you find out, sadly, it belonged to an infant child. What I thought was going to happen was, okay...
That was brilliant.
Yeah,
That was...
I thought, now we're going to watch a flashback of seeing how the federal government killed these poor innocent people, not going to accuse you. We don't see that. We see these...
Same thought.
We see
Same
these,
thought exactly.
We see these people get on a truck. We go to someone in a basement watching people on their security cameras. And instantly I'm like, oh shit, we're about to get a Bill origin story. And for the whole time, the best part about The Last of Us, for me, about the games, like, obviously, they're really fun and they're really tense and they're horrifying and there's action. You need those things to have an engaging video game. If you have a video game where there's no gameplay, it's not a video game. It's like, it's my problem with stuff like Heavy Rain or Detroit Become Human. Those aren't games. Those are click-and-point adventures, which are just narratives. Exactly. The best thing about The Last of Us, for me, apart from those big gameplay moments, are the human elements that you get in these big story beats. So, Joel's daughter dying. That's a big, big story beat. Tess dying and instructing Joel, you need to make the bad things we've done worth it by saving this young girl. It's finding the humanity at the end of the world. And the best thing that this episode did is it took this character who in the game has... One, he just seems crazy and doesn't trust anyone, but he has an incredibly, incredibly tragic sort of conclusion the last time we see him. And they made it the most human thing ever, that at the end of the world, when everything's gone to shit, you can still find a purpose in the most unlikely of circumstances. I was like holding back tears the entire time. My girlfriend sat on the sofa, literally, and I see this, literally, crying her fucking eyes out for the entirety of this episode as things were happening. Because she was like, I know something bad's going to happen. And she's played the games, but she's just like forgotten quite a bit to do with them. It's just like, it's so well portrayed. And you've got just like, one, can we just mention Murray Bartlett going from strength to strength, from looking and then to the White Lotus. And Andrea's left us. He knows we're right, Franco. That's why he's left us, because we're right about our opinion on this episode.
He's crying again. He's crying again, remembering the...
But yes, on Murray Bartlett, he went from looking to... He's an incredible character on The White Lotus. You guys should still watch that show. And people, I'm going to say people, Andrea, will call this episode beautiful filler. But here's my thing to you. So now, Franco, to tell a little about the games. In the games, you meet Bill for a good hour to 2 hours, depending on how fast you play the game of gameplay. And you basically meet him. First, he doesn't trust you. You go through his town. He finds you a car battery. You eventually take a truck. Okay? That's all you see of Bill. That's the big role he has to play in the story of The Last of Us.
So if I may say, so we don't get his backstory, Mala.
You get none of his backstory.
No, we do get to know a little bit about Bill.
Not
Yes.
like this.
As
What do
you
we
go
get to
through,
know?
no, of course not like this. But as we go through the town, you do find out a lot about Bill. A lot. I mean, you do find out some information about
You just
Bill.
find out he's probably a conspiracy theorist, crazy person that didn't trust anyone but his partner Frank.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the end that he has with Frank is so dark and devoid of humanity in the games.
In the game.
In the games, do you want to know what happens in the
Yeah,
games?
yes,
Frank?
yeah, no, go for it. I
So
don't mind
in the games, basically, you run away from all these infected. You get into this one house where you're safe, because basically he just keeps saying the whole time, it's like, oh, like Frank left, like we had a fight. That's all Bill tells you. You get to this house and you find Frank. He's hung himself, like there's his dead body hanging by a rope, with bites all over his arms. So he obviously got attacked and he got bitten and he killed himself. To add insult to injury, you find a note that Frank writes addressing it to Bill, quite literally saying, I left because I hate your fucking guts and I hate your simple-minded ways and I wanted something bigger for myself. Like, it's so dark and devoid of humanity. I love
That's how I thought they would end it, huh?
I was thinking they would, and I'm like, that's going to be the gut punch of all gut punches. But I like that then. It was this touching gut punch. It was... What I liked is it's how Frank says it in the series to him. Like, when he finds out after they both drink the wine that he's given the drugs to both of them to kill them, he says, like, I disagree with this and I should be furious, but at the same time, it's incredibly romantic.
Can I say now that you told me how the game goes? I think if they went down the road of the game, it would have been very conventional.
Yes,
incredibly. Because something that I really enjoyed watching, that I've seen, because usually at this point in time in our timeline, as we speak, a person like sorry if I get confused. Bill is Nick Offerman, right?
Yeah.
A person like Bill would be one-dimensional. Okay, he's a conspiracy theorist. He's a conspiracy nut.
Yeah.
He lives in a bunker. Blah blah blah. Let's give him the usual, like,
let's make him a psycho that doesn't trust anyone.
And let's give him a comeuppance because he's a conspiracy theorist. But I like seeing their relationship develop and see how he
finds a purpose.
He finds a purpose, and it's funny. I think it's a very funny. Not funny. It's very ironic that the society he hates it. Now that he's devoid of it, he was able to be himself.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not just Bill who's the nut. Society itself. We live in a society.
And then it comes to the point of, like, is this filler to an extent? Yes. But then I disagree when, like, even Andrea had said, the story kind of grinds to a halt. In my opinion, it doesn't, because you get that beginning with Joel and Ellie, and you still get the same end they would have had if they went through the Bill stuff play by play in the game. Okay, you missed out on a particularly great action set piece in the game. This series is going to have action set pieces, but frankly, like, I was actually listening to a podcast today about it. The fact that The Last of Us is willing, only 3 episodes in, to devote that amount of time to quiet character moments is what is going to set the show apart from becoming The Walking Dead. And me, as someone who watched 7 seasons of The Walking Dead, that's what saves the show from standing out and being different. I did. I hated myself.
I hated myself.
Yes,
Damn.
I watched 7 whole seasons of The Walking Dead. Luckily, I gave up after that.
Luckily.
But I mean, but as well, The Walking Dead, the reason why it was good, the first 2 seasons, you had a lot of those character moments. And then suddenly they just went like, okay, we're all in on action now. And suddenly people don't need to reload their guns and there's infinite ammo and everyone has the perfect shot because they're all fucking headshots.
Yep.
Even when they're using a crossbow, which is susceptible to wind.
John mentions it. I don't know. Could that be a reference? Like, you will miss more often than you think.
Yeah, but that's another thing I liked as well. Like, when they have the clicker fight in the second episode, Joel doesn't get a good shot in until right at the end.
Yep.
And Joel, by all rights, given the car sticker on his truck in the first episode, is an ex-veteran as well. I mean, that just goes to show how tough it is to kill something moving fast in the dark in a tense situation.
It is 100%.
You know, and that's why like this, just having this character-driven episode, okay, you can say it's filler and it doesn't do that much to the wider story.
If you call it just filler, it's very dismissive of this episode. I see, and
it's dismissive to what the writers are trying to do differently to the game as well. Like, shouldn't they adapt things and change some significant things? Like, Bill, as Franco said in the game, is an incredibly conventional character because he's conspiracy survivalist gun nut who's isolated and doesn't trust anyone. And he gets a comeuppance at the end of it for his ways, where the person who he seemingly loved left him because he was a crazy conspiracist gun nut. Whereas in this show, we have someone who goes from conspiracy gun nut to trusting someone, to loving them, to then, like, it sounds really stupid, to finding joy in something as simple as having strawberries again and getting to eat them.
I was going to mention the strawberries. That was one of the best moments. That was such a beautiful moment.
It's so beautifully human, the whole thing. Like, that's the point. That for me has always been the driving force behind The Last of Us. Its key message behind both of the games are the things that matter, are the companionships that you can form.
May I actually point out something now that I'm thinking about it? How it was to. Eventually, I suspended my disbelief, but it was funny how out of all people, he had to find the love of his life, you know. But
yes, but I mean,
then again, I'm thinking about it like I have to remember that he has been isolated for so long. I think companionship would have been a welcome addition to a life lived in isolation.
Yes, of course.
Can I mention?
But I mean, it's what they're trying to say with the whole thing. It's that, look, even at the end of the world, at this like basic zombie apocalypse, you can find purpose, you can find companionship that you never had.
And he had like, before I really like that line actually. It's like, before I met you, I was never afraid.
Yeah,
that was such a great line as well. And I mean, can I quickly mention the Shell of Depth of Field? I'm liking a lot. The filming is really good. The setting and the atmosphere, production design is very well done.
100%.
And the music is so beautiful.
Yes, this music is
Gustavo.
beautiful because Gustavo Santaolalla is incredible.
Finally, Max Richter. That's Max Richter, right?
And Max Richter.
Yes, Max Richter.
You guys know that is one of my all-time favorite songs.
So this episode should have won you over even more.
No. Franco, I don't know if you wanted to mention anything else.
Yes. Don't you find Frank looks a bit like Jordan Peterson?
Slightly, yes. Unfortunately, Murray Bartlett looks a little bit like Jordan Peterson, yes.
I saw that on Twitter. I saw Jordan Peterson finally comes out as the gay person he clearly is and finds love in post-apocalyptic.
Finds love in the apocalypse, yeah.
When are you going to cook me some lobster? I hate rabbits.
Also, nice
really
detail.
Yeah.
Nice detail in the meals. The last meal they share together
is the first
meal.
The first meal.
Exactly. I remember that. My girlfriend was
it the same wine as
yes.
well?
Yes.
My girlfriend was already crying like by that point, and then I pointed it out when he put the meal down. I pointed out and I said, "Oh, that's the first meal they had together." And she was just like,
"No, I did. I was also I was tearing up as well. Very emotional."
My girlfriend said Frank and Bill deserve their own movie, not their own episodes.
I mean, it is a movie. Let's be honest.
Yes, it's 72 minutes. Yes,
2 minutes. So I mean, this can honestly count as a one whole movie.
Yes, I'm not worried about the rest of the season because we're gonna get episodes that are longer than this for sure, and there's still 6 episodes to go. So, I mean, Andrea, you and I had a chat, obviously to not spoil things for Franco, about big emotional moments that need to happen for the story, and there's 4 really significant ones. You could do that in 6 episodes.
It's a shame. I'd love to see like Bill and Frank again. Yes, that's the only shame that I have.
There is one shame. You know, one shame I have. I wish we saw Bill interact with Joel and Ellie
more.
I know it. I know it can't work with the way they wrote the story.
I'll agree that
but
that's
it's a big shame because there is a lot they can do with that.
Yes, but I also did like you got a kind of like a hint of like how Bill must have been with Joel through the letter that he left him.
So the letter part, I think let me be clear. I love the whole thing. The letter part was one of the parts where I was a little. Doesn't this feel like a little too convenient? Like this is exactly how Joel and Ellie's relationship is going to develop, with Joel protecting Ellie and the whole. It felt a little too obvious. Like,
I mean,
Bill wrote the perfect letter to inspire Joel into protecting Ellie and the whole shebang.
Of course, that's the only person that could have written such a letter.
Yeah.
After realizing that this person gave him purpose. I mean, and seeing how Joel reacted when on the mention of this.
Yeah.
He could identify with the guy as well. So
amazing acting, by the way, when they mentioned.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man.
The casting in this series is perfect.
Yes. Also, one thing I
Sorry.
think we're ignoring with the character of Joel. Sorry, Franco, you continue.
So no, I was going to say, I think that if there's going to be someone miscast, we're going to notice.
Yes.
It's going to be
noticeable.
Yes, for sure.
That's what I was going to say. Okay, we were saying Joel.
One thing I think we're ignoring with Joel, and obviously I've played the game, so I know where the story goes, but it's like, this doesn't spoil anything. The story is about a man finding a purpose again. I mean, the first episode, he loses his daughter, and then suddenly 20 years later, he's got to take care of a 14-year-old girl. It is this, like even Andreas was saying on Prickly Pears the other day, the story for part 1 of The Last of Us is extremely simple. It is typical old wolf and young cub. It's the Mandalorian is old wolf and young cub, but that's an effective story. But then when you imbue it in this kind of world with those kind of character moments, and one thing which I really liked as well, which is, I know it because again, I played the games multiple times, but it's a line they put into Tess as like she knows she's going to make her sacrifice, where she points out like, look, I never asked you to feel the same way. That tells you Joel is this hollow person. He's lost his emotional core when he lost his daughter. He lost his purpose. That's why I think it's a good thing that someone who found a purpose leaves him such a note.
Can I mention a couple more things? First of all, one thing I didn't like was the small, no, it wasn't really an action sequence, but when the raiders attack, what the hell was Bill doing in the middle of the street?
Yes,
like,
it's ill planned, yes.
Like, I mean, if he's a survivalist, he's going to hide right in a window and shoot with his sniper from the window.
That being said,
always
they could have done that. Like they could have done that, and then there was a lucky shot which hit him.
Yeah, but that being said, the house where it was situated is actually not in a good position to be in and shoot people at the gate from.
But he could go into another house. I'm sure.
Yes,
he could have. So that's one thing that annoyed me.
No, but remember, love makes you do stupid stuff. So I think at the same time, I think his motivation was like protect Frank at all costs.
Also, they point out he's a self-professed survivalist. Don't forget, he tells that to Joel. And Joel is like, okay, you're a survivalist. It's like, that wire that you've got in your fence, that's going to rust within a year.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
You know,
he's it's common sense, not to stay in the middle of the street with people shooting at you.
Yes and no, but you're also thinking, oh, are they going to be distracted by all the traps? Half of them are on fire. You know?
Anyway, that's just a small thing. Another thing, and this is, I think, probably the small communist in me thing. Do Bill and Frank deserve all those resources? I'm just kidding with you guys.
No, I see your point. I think you get a very different end should they have like pitched something to like, maybe we should invite Tess and Joel to live here with us. But I kind of like that they had their own little haven.
No. As in, I understand the story. Obviously, I'm not being 100% serious with this, but at the same time, it was something that nagged at me. I was like, if I lived in this world, I'd probably bloody hate them, knowing that they were there drinking their wine and eating a la Revit, and I'm here struggling with fucking scraps with bloody clickers running after me.
Yes,
and they're there comfortable. So that's just a thought that was going through my head. One last thing I wanted to mention. Actually, I lied. The street thing I wanted to mention. Was the ending sad for you guys?
Which ending? I mean, because
the way their story ended. The whole Frank and Bill.
I thought it was perfect. It was touching. It was emotionally affecting.
But would you say it was sad? Because I'm going to be honest, I didn't find it sad. As in, don't get me wrong, it's very, very, very emotional.
You heartless
But I
bastard.
think
You heartless
they-
bastard.
Lived
No, they
the
had
most
yeah.
comfortable life, the best life they could probably have in that certain circumstances. They had reached a certain age where obviously in a post-apocalyptic world they probably couldn't protect themselves any longer.
Mhm.
They said, we'll end it on our terms.
Yeah,
which
no,
is-
that's why it's a nice, touching story. It's sad in terms of like it's touching, you know, that these two.
I see.
Because-
I see.
Why
I
would
see.
people cry at the ending?
I see his point there. Like they lived a privileged life.
They did.
Yes, but it's sad in the way of to use like the quote from a very great movie that came out last year. I'm sure that all Frank and Bill wanted for each other is in another life to do nothing but sit around and tend to their plants
do laundry and pay
and
taxes.
do laundry and taxes together. The sad part is that they didn't get to do that for longer. They only had 20 years, and okay, 20 years is a long time. But
And in the
but
world
also-
of The Last of Us, that's...
yes, also the sad part is that these people never got to live a normal life together. But then also, if it not for this apocalypse and Frank falling into one of Bill's traps, they never would have met.
Plus, I think the episode didn't go into the down days that they've had. And
No,
Frank does
exactly.
mention that
That's
he had
true.
some.
Yes.
So most probably they must have been. I think the one time that Bill got shot. I don't think it was the only time that Bill got shot. Most probably.
No, that definitely wasn't the only attack
Same.
they've had as well. Like in 20 years, of course not.
Not to mention.
And if I can ask, guys, did you understand what happened to Frank, like,
Cancer.
by
no.
the end? I had cancer.
Actually, no. My girlfriend, I mean, she's a doctor's opinion. She thinks it was something closer to like a motor neuron disease because of his movements, and he was in a wheelchair and stuff like that.
Okay. Oh yes.
That
yes.
gets very painful, right? I would imagine.
Very painful. You just waste away, literally.
Yeah.
Like and like as Frank says in the series, is like there wasn't a cure for this. When-
Oh.
ALS, most ALS, maybe.
Could be like
could be
ALS,
as well.
yes.
They should have
Franco,
done
you're
the
going
ice
to
bucket
mention something.
challenge.
Oh, God.
It's some degenerative thing which he had for sure.
Franco, you were going to mention something before. Sorry, I interrupted you.
I think that's why he put the traps as well. No, I mean, he was very well prepared, just not prepared enough.
I did love his satisfaction of watching the one infected runner walk into one of the traps.
Yeah,
Never gets old.
That was very good.
Also, can we mention how nice it is to see a gay relationship which is not all centered around misogyny,
Yes.
which is something we really don't see a lot in Hollywood.
and that's why I said if they went down the route of the game of the conventional conspiracy theories,
would have been
it would have
been
worked.
very conventional.
That and seeing an old gay couple, we don't really see that much
No,
in
At
either
all.
our series.
No,
So
it was
those
totally
are
unpanderous,
big
the whole thing.
pluses.
No, very very unpandered. That's the word.
It's just genuine. Like none of it was forced. Like even like their first interaction of them being intimate is incredibly real.
And again, if we go back to what we're speaking about diversity and what's not, I didn't know that Bill and Frank were freaking gay. I didn't even see
Exactly.
the trailer,
Mm-hmm.
and I freaking went with it all the way to the point that I got emotional. But that's
The
why
emotions were raw, authentic.
it's
Well,
that's kudos the Druckmann and the writers. I don't know who wrote this episode, to be honest.
No, but the Last of Us, and I think Andrea will agree with me, is a very, very inclusive story with these things,
Oh,
and
100%,
always has been.
100%.
Both games, both games, and even the DLC of Part 1 are particularly inclusive stories of these things, and they're unpanderous, and they're like, look, this is just the way it is.
Yeah, it's not. Again, that's where the thing goes. It's not the selling point. It's an essential part of the story.
It is. It's the right way of doing this kind of stuff, basically.
Still, but again, 3 white guys, and I sometimes you do need to do some sort of even everything everywhere all at once. The character of Chobutupaki, we didn't know that she was lesbian to begin with.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it was just put there. It's normal. It's her parents' fault that they don't accept her as it is. And we went with it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
at, the,
in fact,
at the end of the day, it was even more successful than making a whole fuss. Oh, the
Yes, yes.
fairy is black, you know.
It was actually funny. The Last of Us Part 2, the game. A lot of, I'm not even going to call them fans, a lot of fucking idiots attacked the game for being like woke and PC and stuff like that because they saw things in trailers, interpreted them one way, and then accused the writers of like even like changing complete character bios. Like, but the things have always been this way with The Last of Us. And even there's one key character who comes up in Part 2, which everyone was like, everyone was like, she's definitely a lesbian. She's definitely trans.
So what?
Oh my God.
So what?
I cannot wait to see the internet just
The internet's gonna
burn down.
The internet's gonna
Explode.
melt when Part 2 comes out.
Because so far it's just been the gamers.
Yeah,
Now it's
yeah.
the gamers
I
and
actually-
the watchers.
I saw a good meme actually using Brendan Fraser's face from the Mummy film. So it said like regular people seeing The Last of Us get a season 2. It's like him like smiling like a lot. Then it's like gamers seeing The Last of Us get a season 2, and it's like him like shit, really worried.
Veshwen.
There's Last
Franco,
of Us.
you have no
Part-
idea what's
Part
coming.
2 goes places.
Okay.
If you're not going to play the games, Franco, do whatever you can not to get
Yes,
spoiled.
because there are spoilers.
Because-
There are spoilers everywhere.
Okay.
Everywhere.
Okay. No.
I'm
Especially
not the
now-
biggest fan of the way the whole storyline works.
I love Part 2. I think it's for me. Part 1 is like a masterpiece of like a completed
Wait.
work.
I know that part 2. Listen, I know that Joel dies in part 2. Jeffrey,
Oh,
It's not just. But I still don't think that's it because
the way he dies is a bit.
But the issue isn't Joel dying. It makes sense that Joel dies.
yeah.
By the way, spoilers for
we
for the second game.
We did say spoilers, so people shouldn't
Yeah,
be
yeah.
unless they don't know.
I told you.
It's not
I'm-
the fact that he died. It makes sense that he dies. It's the stupid fucking decisions he makes.
I
that lead to
disagree.
his
I
death.
disagree wholeheartedly, and I can't wait to talk about it. I
man.
completely and
When this
utterly
comes
disagree.
out,
If
It's
they
going
change
to be
it,
so
and
much fun.
they might change it as well.
They might.
We'll see.
They might.
I hope they do.
For me,
Neil Druckmann said he would change. He will change stuff if they
Yeah.
they come up
if they can
with
find a better way to do it.
I
Yeah.
really like this
I
guy.
hope they find
I
a
really
better
like
way
this
to
guy. I really like this guy. How he treats his material, how he treats his audience, how he treats his characters. That he is.
You
he is
you do very well, Franco. After the first season is done, so you'll
Mhm.
have the story of Part 1. They had done in the build-up to The Last of Us Part 2. They did a podcast where they
debrief.
discussed. No, they discussed the entire first game before Part 2 came out, and then when Part 2 came out, they discussed the entire second game. But it was basically a guy interviewing different people involved in the game, and the person who comes up the most in the interviews is Druckmann. And look, his dream was always to be a filmmaker, but then instead he found his medium into video games.
yeah,
It shows. It shows.
it shows
Okay, guys, if you had to give this episode a rating, what would you give it?
10.
almost 10. I'll let you.
Ostia?
It's perfect.
10 clickers out of.
Yeah, it is. If it is filler, as Franco said, it is how you do it.
Yeah, exactly.
It is
And,
a beautiful human episode in a world which is devoid of humanity.
10
Uh-huh.
rabbits, 10 strawberries out of 10 strawberries.
Yeah. 10,
I would
bo-
give it a 9, I think.
10 bottles of wine, 10 packets of those pills, 10
Between
everything.
between an 8 and a 9, depending on where we go. Because one thing, Franco, from the game that I was talking to Joe about yesterday is at the end of the whole Bill's town sequence in the game, Bill tells Joel, he tells him, like, that girl is going to be the cause of your death, which is quite ironic. I think they knew where they were going to take the game anyways. So Bill tells Joel that girl is going to lead to your death, basically. She's going to be the cause of your death. And Joel actually stands up for her, and he's like, she actually did quite well, during the whole school sequence, fighting with, spoilers, I won't say what, and through the whole car sequence, which was extremely tense, and I hope they added somewhere else the whole car sequence.
I hope
That
that
was
the upside down sequence
really
of the
good.
car sequence.
And the upside down sequence was very good as well. That's true. So this was the first moment, I think, in the video game where Joel sees Ellie not as a package, but as a person.
Mhm.
And I don't think we've gotten to that point yet in
No,
the
there's
series.
still time.
We
We're
are
definitely gonna
about-
get
No,
to
there's
it.
still time.
There's
So
still
that's
time.
why I said a 9, between an 8 and a 9, with the potential of getting a +1, as long as, Joel and Ellie get the right character development and
They're
the
going to
build-up
have
of their
to,
whole
because I mean
relationship.
the
But
climax
obviously-
of the game and what's going to be the climax of the show hinges on it. So
What I'm looking forward to is to finally go around and watch Chernobyl, since this guy.
I
Yes.
might do the same actually.
Do
'Cause
it.
There are
You're
two
going to love
there
it.
are two podcasters that I like that discuss TV every week. It's called The Watch. They're from the Ringer Network. And they were two people that, like myself and like Franco, they didn't like all the hype around Chernobyl. And even though like their job is to watch television and movies, they never watched it. But recently they watched
Yeah.
it and they're like, Chernobyl's fucking awesome.
No, it is. The tone and the influence is very clear from Chernobyl
No,
to The Last of Us.
In fact, I'm
The
amazed
world
by.
building, exactly.
Thank you. Yeah,
That's it.
took the words right out of my mouth.
That's it. The world building. Very similar, and in both, it's bloody brilliant. Bloody brilliant. All right, guys. Shall we end it there? I think this was a very
True.
interesting discussion.
We see each other again this week, guys. It's
Definitely.
confirmed.
Oh my god, I am so excited.
Yes, guys. And
I just saw the email as well.
You saw what?
I
What?
am so
I just
excited.
I just saw the email as well. You didn't see it?
Oh, nice. guys,
We'll
have,
get to that. We'll get to that.
but we have two strong.
Yes, two. There are good things in the pipeline.
Exactly.
Definitely.
A first
yeah.
for Malta, by the way. A first for
Yes.
Malta.
Definitely a first for Malta.
Let's
Look
go.
at us punching above our weight. All that small island, big balls stuff.
Sometimes it has being Maltesers, man.
Yes, yes.
After all the criticism that I made.
we might be small, but by fuck we're loud.
we are.
Yeah.
And opinionated. Holy
Yes.
shit.
True. True.
All right, guys. It's been a blast as always, Franco.
Well, it's been a blast enjoying this thing. Episode 10 coming up next week. Good big episodes, and another episodes in February. Plugging my short movie, 10th February, Movement Graffiti Offices, and more to come.
Go watch it.
I look forward to Joe's feedback actually.
Yes.
You get that tomorrow.
Okay. Imagine he eviscerates. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Oh, I'm going to. It's gonna be the MCU of short films for me.
Exactly. even the name, Night Owl, it's like a superhero name.
I hated the costume. He had no motivation. There were no stakes.
And then,
It looks like Spy Kids 4.
Oh my god.
if anything, it doesn't look anything like Spy Kids 4. Anyway. Oh,
Right. Joe, as always, it's been a pleasure.
As always, I had a great time. To the audience, I'm gonna take the plug from Andrea on this one. Go follow us on our TikTok, because for some reason we're doing very well there at the moment. Always leave us a comment, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Always engage with us. If you're out there and you want to be on our podcast, please feel free to reach out. Go watch Franco's short film. Watch The Last of Us. Movies are good. I still hate the MCU.
and Andrea, any chance that you're going to see The Empty Man?
Yes, guys. Can we? If we have an audience out there and people are watching, if I can ask one thing of you, this is the one thing I will ever ask. We need to start like a petition of some sort, or literally, if you agree with us, just type the words "empty man" into the comment section, so we can finally have our Empty Man special.
True.
Because at this rate, we're gonna have the director of The Empty Man on before Andrea even watches it.
No, then I'll have to watch it then.
David Simon. He's on
Yeah.
Facebook.
Okay,
eh?
let's do this. If we ever have the director of Empty Man on, I'll watch it.
That's bullshit. You should just watch it anyway. What kind of cop out is that?
Challenge accepted.
Okay, let's contact David Pryor's people, Franco. Let's get on it. Let's get the 300 emails.
Yep.
Right, guys, it was a blast as always. And like Joe said, like, subscribe, please. give us the attention we need. We want to continue talking about movies and series.
Validate us. Validate
Yes.
us.
Validate us. Cheers. I want to see you guys next time.
See ya.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.